Hello, hello, hello. How y'all doing today? I apologize. I am running a little too behind today. I normally try to be like, a minute or two is normal, but this is a little more behind than I normally like to be, and I apologize, but for good reason. Actually, it was the lesson that I was doing that we got for the night. I was working on it and just didn't have enough time to really develop all my thoughts like I thought I would. Normally, lesson takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I usually I'll make sure I get there before I sit down and start writing, and that's what I had tonight. But as you can see, we get into a very important topic tonight, something that I need to bring out. I don't think a lot of people realize just how much it affects us and affects our daily lives and our routines, and really it affects everything that we do and a lot of the decisions that we make because of this thing that we're going to talk about tonight. So I got into writing a lesson, and I just couldn't stop. And I really, even with what I got, I hope I don't go too long tonight, but even with what I got, I left out a lot. There's so many different avenues I could have went, and I just had to be like, all right, I just got to stop it and go ahead and get this lesson started. So if y'all been waiting on me for a minute, I do apologize. I was about 9-10 minutes late, but again, it's because I was putting it last, finished the touches on a message, and stuff just kept popping up because it's such an important topic that we're going to talk about tonight. So I apologize for that if you've been waiting for too long. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Of course, I'm John Stewart on behalf of River Lake Lost Sheep Ministry, sponsored by River Lake Baptist Church, here to bring y'all a message tonight. We've been in New Testament for the last few weeks, and I told y'all we'll be here for a few weeks. I thought it was going to be like 3 or 4 weeks, but now I was going to try to just breeze through it. But heck, we spent so much time in Samuel. Like, you know what? I'm gonna take my time with it. Spend a little bit of a few weeks over here in New Testament before we go back to Old Testament. And I'm hoping you guys not just enjoying these lessons, but I pray that it's actually, is helping you out. There's good if you enjoy it, but if it's not helping you, then enjoying it, that ain't getting us nowhere. I want to make sure that what we're doing and what we're talking about, this time spent, is helping you build your relationship with the Lord. So I'll give me 1 second. But we've been going through Matthew chapter 1. We went through starting Matthew chapter 1, and we looked across all the Gospels. Looked at the story of Jesus, the birth of Jesus. So of course in Matthew, we had the first lesson that we did out of it. We started, the introduction was to the Gospels. Then the first lesson out of Matthew, we was looking at the birth of Christ, and then in Mark, it's not, the birth of Christ is not in Mark, so we didn't really go into Mark, and it's also not in John. We didn't go into John, but it's in Luke. So, and it's a pretty long chapter in Luke, because Luke is long-winded. So we're gonna probably be in Luke for a few weeks. And I was hoping to get like 2 or 3 points done each time, and that way, so we're gonna get through it. But with the subject that we're gonna talk about, the subject matter we're gonna talk about tonight, I was only able to get 1 in, and it's just that one. Like I said, I was writing up. I literally just finished writing it. Like, that's why I'm breathing on hard, and I ain't sweating anything. But I literally just finished writing it before I hit start, and I saw that it was getting close to 7. I'm like, dang it, I ain't even finished writing it yet. So let me finish it up. And I'd rather finish it up and get the idea that I had in my head out than just kind of half booty it and just throw y'all some stuff out there just to be throwing some stuff out there. I want to make sure everything I do is productive and is going to be helpful. So again, I apologize for being a couple minutes late, but we're going to go ahead and jump into it. So again, we've been doing this lesson for this is the third installment of this lesson. And the title of it overall, this series is called Go Jesus, It's Your Birthday. And again, like I said, we're looking at the birth of Christ and the significance of the birth of Christ and the effect that it has in your life once you really understand and believe in his birth and what it does. So last week's lesson, I just go through, I went 2 points. The first one, I went through like 5 points, but again, I just went through them quickly. But then last week's lesson, I went through 2 points. And went through point number 6, which was, just do a quick review since I'm late. I ain't gonna even re-preach it. If you want to know, if you see these points and they look like it's something that interests you or they sound like something that interests you, you can always go back, search down my page and look at last week's lesson, which was part number 2, or you can go to my YouTube page because it's on there as well. So point number 6 that I brought you last week, another effect that the birth of Christ will have in your life, you won't, it'll get you to a point where you won't let anything stop you from being where the Lord wants you to be. You know, you won't let anything stop you from being where the Lord wants you to be. That's what we talked about. And we just talked about how Mary, she was pregnant. She was basically 8-9 months pregnant, and she had to travel. Her husband had to travel for the census, and she wouldn't with him. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, a woman that pregnant ain't gonna travel, especially because, you know, back then they didn't have cars and vans where they can travel comfortably. They had to walk or ride a donkey. Which both of those are uncomfortable for somebody that's 8-9 months pregnant, but she didn't let the fact that she was pregnant keep her from being where God wanted her to be. You know, again, she knew the prophecies. She was told that the child was going to be the Christ child. And if you know your scripture, like most of the Jews did back then, they knew he's supposed to be born in Bethlehem. So that's why I said when her husband was like, hey, I got to go to Bethlehem, she was like, let's go. And I'm pretty sure he's like, girl, you 8-9 months pregnant. You know, you need to sit your butt down somewhere. But she went, because she wasn't going to let she understood the significance of his birth, and she wasn't going to let anything stop her from being what the Lord wanted her to be. So that was number 6. Again, I'm not going to go into much detail of it, because, I already started off late, so I want to re-preach something I already preached. But again, that was number 6. And then number 7, the point number 7 is another effect that the birth of Christ will have in your life is you be humble enough to be content with the things the Lord has blessed you with. And again, we look at the text verse, we see that this was God himself being born. He was born to be the king of the Jews, the king of not only just Jews of the world. Eventually, you know, he's God in the form of a man, and yet he was born in a barn. You know what I'm saying? His first bed was in the place where the animals come to eat, you know, slobber and stuff everywhere. And this was God himself. So, you know, he was born, he had a humble birth, he lived a humble life, and he died a humble death as well. And that's why he was able to bring salvation to the world. And when you really understand the significance of his birth, and I got into that, when you understand the significance of his birth, you'll be content. And I talked about, that don't mean you can't work or strive for better. That's not what I'm saying, but you will be happy wherever you at. Some people, they want better, they want more, so they're miserable with it. They won't even enjoy the little bit that they do have because they're so content, or they want more. And again, it's okay to want more. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to strive for more. But like I said, I want more. I like to have a bigger house or nicer cars or a bigger ministry and all that stuff. But I'm happy with what God got me at now. And that's what it's talking about, being content. And I talked to you about, you know, I read the verse what Paul said. He said, I learned how to be content in every situation. Whether I got a lot or I got a little, whether I'm full or whether I'm starving, you know what I'm saying? Whether I'm happy or sad, whatever. He said, whatever situation I'm in, I've learned how to be content. And really, that's the key to life. The key to life is being able to be content. And that's what we talked about last week. So that was the 2 points that I covered last week. And like, again, if those sound interesting to you at all, you're like, man, I hate I missed that lesson. Go back and watch my, like I said, scroll down to my page. You want to scroll far. It was point number, it was, I think I titled it, Go Jesus, Your Birthday, number 2. That was the lesson number, that was lesson number 2, that I covered just now. The review of lesson number 2 that I covered just now. So again, with that being said, we're going to continue on in Luke. We're going to get to our next point. We're in Luke chapter 2. If you got your Bibles out and you want to read along, I always like to let everybody know, especially your first time watching, I am a wholehearted King James believer. Believe in King James with all my heart. That's the one that I read out of. But when I do my lessons, I do them out of New Living Translation. It's just easier to put it in plain English, but I do read both versions. And if it's something that I feel the New Living Translation left out, I always make sure that I point it out in the King James Version. But for the most part, I think we're going to be good tonight. So that's what we're going to be at. We're going to start. I'm going to go ahead and read, and then I'm going to pray, and we'll jump into this lesson. Because like I said, there's a lot here. Very important lesson. I hope y'all be able to stay in for the whole lesson, because this is something that's very important. And I didn't really think it's one of those situations where I didn't really think about how it affects life, how it affects us as a society, until I really got into it and started putting this lesson together. And then, of course, the Spirit just started hitting me with stuff, and it was a lot. So, like I said, I had to really taper it down, and I'm hoping I won't be here to hold y'all too late tonight. But at the same time, I think this is very important if you want to really establish your relationship with the Lord, you got to understand this obstacle that gets in the way a lot of times of you being who the Lord wants you to be. So with that being said, I'm in Luke chapter 2. I'm going to read verses. I'm going to start at verse 6 just because that's what our last lesson. I always like to read the verse before what our last lesson came from. And then I'm going to go down through verse 10. So I'm going to start at verse 6 and I'm going to read through verse 10. Our text verse is going to be in verse 10. So the Lord in Luke chapter 2, verse 6, the Lord tells us this. He says, and while they were there, the time came for her baby to be born. She gave birth to her first child, a son. She wrapped him in snugly in strips of cloth and laid him in a manger because there was no room for them in the inn, the village inn. And again, that's why our point came from last week, about being content. Then in verse 8, the Lord tells us, he said, that night, some shepherds was in the fields outside the village, guarding their flocks of sheep. Suddenly, an angel of the Lord appeared among them, and the radiance of the Lord's glory surrounded them, and they were terribly frightened. But the angel reassured them, don't be afraid, he said. I bring you good news of great joy for everyone. Let's pray. Dear Lord Heavenly Father, thank you so much for watching over today. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to get into your word here tonight, to bring this powerful truth you bring. I was praying today. I didn't know exactly which direction because I hadn't read ahead yet, and I didn't know which direction this lesson was going to go in. And I was thinking I could probably get 2 or 3 points in. But man, when I started putting this lesson together, you really just hit me and gave me the wisdom to see how important it is and put the spirit in my heart to really just harbor or focus on this point. And don't try to go into other points, but really focus and put the lesson and put the details into this point tonight because it's very important. A lot of what we're going to discuss tonight, hopefully it'll open people's eyes and see just how much this topic that we're going to discuss tonight really affect our lives. It really affect everything we do. We don't realize it affect everything we do, especially our relationship with you. So Lord, I just pray that you continue to let your spirit work through me like it just did for me to put this lesson together so I can bring out this truth, Lord. And I pray you just use me as a mouthpiece for your wisdom, Lord. I pray you let your spirit work on the hearts of all those that's going to watch this video tonight. I pray you just let that spirit work on their heart, that open their heart up, soften that the ground of their heart up, and let the seed be planted and give them the wisdom they need so they may have a closer relationship with you. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to get into your word tonight. And I say this prayer in your wonderful son, Jesus' name. Amen. All right, give me a drink of high quality H2O and then I'm going to get started. So it's actually like I said, our text verse is going to be verse number 10. Actually, the next 2 points is going to come out there. And that's why I thought, like I said, I'll probably get both of these tonight. But like I said, once I started on the first one, I just got focused on it. All kind of ideas kind of started coming to my head and kind of thoughts that I need to bring out about this subject. So I I have to get in the other one. So we'll be back in this same text verse next week, Lord willing. If I'm able to be here next week, Lord willing, we'll be back. But tonight I want to focus on the first little part. So again, he said, suddenly an angel, I'm starting verse 9, it says, suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared among them, and the radiance of the Lord's glory surrounded them. They were terribly frightened, but the angel reassured them, don't be afraid, he said. So that's where my text verse is going to come from, right there, where he says, don't be afraid. And over the King James Version, it makes a statement that says, fear not. And that's going to come up. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on, and I want to get ahead of myself. But that statement, fear not, is a very important statement. It appears a lot of times in the Bible, and I'm going to bring that kind of toward the end of the lesson, the significance in that word, fear not. But right there, he says, they were terribly frightened, but the angel reassured them, don't be afraid, he said. So point number 8 in this lesson, another effect of the birth of Christ. Another effect of the birth of Christ, you understand the birth of Christ, you believe in the birth of Christ, believe that, because, a lot of Jews, they still don't believe that, that Jesus was the Messiah. They don't believe that the Christ was born already. They're still looking for him. But if you're not one of those people, you believe in the birth of Christ and you understand the significance of the birth of Christ, then number 8, this is the effect that it'll have on you. Another effect that it'll have on you, it would alleviate you of your fears. Fear. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Fear. Like I said earlier, fear impacts so much of our lives. A lot of the things that we do, a lot of the decisions that we make, a lot of the way we live our lives, we don't realize that it is out of fear. It's fear that drives us to do certain things, and it's also fear that keeps us from not doing certain things. I mean, you think about it, how many of y'all walk around on a daily basis, especially with what's going on. When you look at the world and the thing that's going on in this world today and the craziness that we seem to face on a day-to-day basis, when you look at that, it's hard to not walk around daily with a fearful heart. You know what I'm saying? Fearing what's going on in the world, or even fearing what kind of craziness that tomorrow may bring. You just never know. Fear is hard when, again, especially if you watch the news or you get on social media or read the newspaper or whatever you do. It's very hard to get away from not having fear creep into your heart. You know, and one of my favorite artists, there's an artist named Lupe Fiasco. I don't know if y'all know of him, but he's in my top 10. Very good rapper. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those country rappers, and he have a song called Words I Never Said. And in the song, he has a quote in there. He said, fear is such a weak emotion. That's why I despise it. And there's so much truth for that. The fear is really, once you really learn the Lord, once you really have build your relationship with the Lord and you understand God and who God is, you really understand, you start to understand. And that's why I say so much truth to the statement. You really understand that fear is a weak emotion. That's emotion you should not be displaying if you really putting your faith and trust in Christ. You know what I'm saying? And until you really learn how to put your faith in Christ, you really would never be able to be an effective servant, because you'll always be afraid. You'll be afraid. You know what I'm saying? And we don't realize just how crippling fear really is. We don't realize how significant fear is and how much it affects our lives. Like I said, most decisions that people make, most of the things that we do, good or bad, we do out of fear. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us, and I put myself in this group, are unsuccessful or not as successful as we could be because we're afraid of success. You know, you're afraid of, what if you make it to the top and then you make a mistake and fall and everybody see you fall? You know what I'm saying? So instead of striving to be the best, instead of striving to be on the top, you know what I'm saying? Instead of striving to be successful because of your fear, you just remain mediocre. And what you don't realize is that fear, it really cripples the work that you can do to elevate yourself. And it also, more importantly, it cripples the work that you could be doing for the Lord. And we really don't realize that. Like I said, we don't realize, that and talking to a lot of people, things that's going on, a lot of decisions they make is out of fear. I was talking to, y'all know I've been if y'all been watching me for the last few weeks, I got a friend of mine that I've been helping deal with a really bad breakup. And, and the worst part of the breakup, the reason why it's hitting him so hard, and he said himself, because he feared that he's going to end up being alone for the rest of his life. Because he was with this girl for 10 years. He's 40 now. He was with her for 10 years, never imagined losing her. He's like, man, I got to start over. Am I going to find somebody that, you know what I'm saying, she complimented me so well. Am I going to ever find somebody like this? And he's losing his mind. He's freaking out because of fear. And I remember him telling, like, bro, you were talking about stuff that, like, you don't know what's going to happen. I and he don't believe in God, so it's hard to be like, well, God closes one door, he opens another, because he don't believe in God. But I did tell him, man, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. You know what I'm saying? You might think that was the best thing you ever had, but might not even realize she just, by her leaving you, she made way for you to go into and find or come across the best thing that you would ever have. You know what I'm saying? But it's been so good for so long, he feared that he'll never be able to find it again. He feared that not only would he not be able to find that again, something that compares to their relationship, that he wanted to be able to find anybody to be in a relationship with. So he's sick over it. because of fear. He's afraid. He's sick over something that he don't even know is going to happen. But he's convinced himself because of his fear of being alone. He convinced himself that what happened to him is the worst thing that can happen to him, and he's not going to ever recover. And see, that's what fear does. It cripples you. And I've been telling him, bro, just start working on yourself, bro. Start, you know what I'm saying? He want to change careers. He want a better career. Work on that. Focus on getting your resume together. You know what I'm saying? Focus on getting some more job skills that you can use to get a better career. Those are things you should be focused on. If you focus on those things, doing those things will take you down a different path. And you may find that girl that you will be with forever. But his fear is crippling. I mean, he's sick, you know, and I talked to him the other day, like, man, I'm not getting any better. You know, because again, he has this fear of being alone. So again, that fear, it cripples. He can't even do anywhere. He can't focus. He says, I can't even focus on furthering my career. I can't focus on myself because I'm worrying about this thing. And that's what fear does. It cripples us. It cripples the work that you can do to elevate yourself. And like I said, more importantly, it cripples the work that you can do for God. You know, there's this movie came out, this movie about Samuel Jackson was the coach. It's one he actually wasn't cursing all the time, but it's a really good movie. It's called Coach Carter, and he was the coach of this basketball team. And in the movie, I think it came out in I want to say 2005, somewhere in that area. It was called Coach Carter. Great movie. Watch it. You know, it's a good movie. And but in it, well, what stuck out to me the most, he kept asking the guys, this one guy, like, what do you fear? You know, and they didn't understand it because they was like hood dudes. And they like, we ain't afraid of nothing kind of thing. But he kept on asking them, what do you fear? And they never got it. And then one day, I believe it was his son that actually got it. Or it may not have been his son. I can't remember who got it, but one of the guys got it. And they hit him with this poem by Marianne Williamson. She wrote this poem, and it's called Our Deepest Fear. And I'm going to read that for y'all tonight and I've read this before on a lesson I did before on fear, but I'm going to reread this for y'all tonight because it's such a powerful poem. It's such a good poem. One of my favorite parts of the movie is when a young man stood up and he read this poem. And I mean, it touched my heart. It almost made me cry, but I didn't cry though. You know what I'm saying? I'm a thug. I don't cry. But I mean, it's just a really great poem, but it actually is going to reflect the lesson and exactly what I'm talking about tonight as I'm talking about fear. So the title of the poem is called, it was written by, I guess this is a lady. It might be a lady, could be a dude. I don't know. But Marianne Williamson, sound like a lady name. And it's titled Our Deepest Fear. And it says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant? Gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. Actually, who are you not to be? See, that you are a child of God. And that's what we understand. You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel unsure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. This is a powerful poem, man. I love this poem. It said, it is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we consciously give other people permission to do the same. And as we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. That is powerful. That is a powerful poem. I love that poem. And when I was putting this together, I said, I got to put this poem in there because it illustrates exactly what I'm talking about. And that's what fear does. And that's what it's saying. That fear, it quenches you. It quenches your spirit. It quenches your productiveness. It quenches you. Like I said, with my buddy right now, he's in a bad situation because of this fear he has of being alone for the rest of his life because this 10-year relationship didn't work out. And he thought that was it. He would never have to date again and he was done. And now he got to kind of get back out there. So he has this fear and it's crippling. He can't even, it's hard to go a day. He's having to get all kind of medical help and counseling and everything because of this fear of being alone that has come over him because of this relationship hasn't worked out. And that's what fear does. Fear cripples you. And I never really thought about, like I said, until I started putting this lesson together, I never thought about, how it affects us, our daily lives, but how it affects society as a whole. Fear is a terrible thing and it really hurts us when we let fear into our heart. And you see, Lucifer knows this. You know what I'm saying? He knows this truth, and he uses our fear to keep us from becoming what God truly wants us to be. That's what he does. He keep us from becoming what God truly wants us to be. Because you're thinking about it. Most people don't read the Bible because they are afraid it's going to reveal some things about them. You know what I'm saying? So going to show them some things about themselves that they're not going to like. So they're going to have to, change and stop doing some of the things that they love to do. And they don't want to do that. They're afraid that when they get to reading them pages and, and the Lord start talking about, hey, you shouldn't be doing this, or you shouldn't be doing that, or you shouldn't be saying this, or you shouldn't be going here. They're afraid the page is going to reveal these truths to them, and then they're going to have to stop doing those things that they really love doing. They're afraid of that, so they just don't read the Bible. And since they have a fear of missing out, they don't read it because they figure ignorance is bliss. If I read the Bible, it's going to tell me I can no longer have sex outside of marriage. So I can't do those menage a trois, and I can't be hooking up with girls that I bring home after the club and things. I can't do all that fun stuff. I can't be drinking and getting drunk every weekend or doing drugs every week. I can't be doing it. And because of our fear, again, a fear of missing out, we figure ignorance is bliss. So we just don't read the Bible. So we don't have to hear that we shouldn't be doing those things. You see what I'm saying? And that fear of missing out, we don't realize that fear of missing out. We fear missing out on what we consider fun things, but in reality, that fear is we not realizing what we're truly missing out on is the blessings of God. That's what you truly, because you got a fear of reading the Bible, because you don't want the Bible to tell you not to do this, not to do that, because you have that fear. You know what I'm saying? You have that fear of missing out. You don't realize you're really truly missing out on the blessings of God. You know what I'm saying? You missing out on the true blessing of God that comes from reading this word. But most people won't read the word because they're afraid of what the word is going to do to them. They're afraid the word is going to change them. That's why they don't read it. And that's crazy. They're afraid the word. And I ain't gonna lie, it is going to change you. It will. I'm going to tell you right now, you ain't got to have that fear. I'm telling you, that's exactly, if you really read it and you get into it, and you spend time in it daily, searching the scriptures daily like you say you're supposed to do, yes, that fear is going to change you. Yes, it's going to have you thinking different. Yes, it's going to have you doing different things. You know what I'm saying? But most people won't read the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not reading, it's something I tell people all the time. Like, if you want to measure your relationship with God, if you want to see how close you are to God, if you really want, like, man, am I good? You know what I'm saying? Am I in a good relationship with God? The easiest way to tell how close you are in your relationship with God is how often you read your Bible. If you read your Bible every day, then 9 times out of 10, you have a close relationship with God. But if you don't read your Bible every day, I will tell you, you do not have a close relationship with God. How often do you just open it up on Sundays when it's time to go to church? Do you only time you open your Bible when the preacher tell you to open it when he get ready to do a sermon? Then you don't have a close relationship with God as you think you do. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no way you can have a close relationship with God read your Bible every day and not have a close relationship with God. But there's also no way you can have a close relationship with God without reading your Bible every day. They go hand in hand. You see what I'm saying? But most people won't read their Bible. They won't become who God wants them to be because they have a fear of their Bible changing them, changing their perspective, changing their priorities, changing who they are. And they don't want that because they love who they are. They love the person they are, and they don't realize that person they are right now is nowhere close to what they really could be if they get in the word. But it's that fear of missing out on the parties, missing out on the girls, missing out on the guys, and that fear of missing out keeps us in a mediocre state, and we don't even realize it. Because I'm going to tell y'all, I can't tell you how many times I fell victim to that fear of missing out. I can't tell you how many times I fell victim to that fear of missing out. I can't tell you how many times I went somewhere that I knew I didn't need to be, I didn't need to go, or really didn't want to go, but I went because I was afraid that if I didn't go, something was going to happen, some fun was going to happen, something's going to pop off, and everybody going to be talking about it, and I'm going to be upset because I didn't get to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like this weekend, we had football, and I don't watch football like I used to. It's certain teams I look at, and what I do at the end of the day, once I did my soul winning and all that, college football, I don't even watch NFL football no more, but college football, at the end of the day, if it's a game that sounds interesting enough, I sit and I watch the replay of the game. That's what I do now. There's 10, 15 minutes, I get to see the whole game in 10, 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But I know when Vandy beat Alabama, that's amazing. I'm like, oh my goodness, I would have loved to have been a part of that. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't. And it's okay. I'm fine. But it was the people that's true, like Vandy fans. Oh, if they, you know what I'm saying, two ones that maybe had like season tickets and chose not to go this game because they thought Alabama was gonna beat them down, and then it happened. They're sick right now. They're kicking themselves because they feel like they missed out on something. And see, I can't tell you again how many times I didn't want to go somewhere and I went anyway. I knew it probably gonna be a good time. I've been there before, didn't have a good time, but maybe this was gonna be the time that it's gonna be a good time, and I don't want to miss that. I have a fear of missing that good time, so I'm gonna go anyway. And then I went and I was miserable, or something bad ended up happening. You know what I'm saying? That happens because of fear. You knew you weren't supposed to go. You knew that wasn't a good place for you to be. You knew there's somewhere that you need that person that you didn't need to be associated with or having your life, but you went anyway because of that fear. You know what I'm saying? And just like a lot of men, I almost missed out on one of the best things that ever happened to me, which is, meeting my wife or marrying my wife, because of fear. You know what I'm saying? The most wonderful woman I've ever had in my life, other than my grandmother, of course. My grandma raised me. She's number one, and my wife knows that she can't get mad about that because my grandma raised me. But number two, you know what I'm saying? Actually, she's competing with my oldest daughter now, so she might fall down because my older daughter, that's my baby, that's my heart there. You know what I'm saying? And my wife's been sick, and she stepped up, and now she's doing all the cooking, take care of the house. So I told my wife, I said, girl, you better get back well soon. You're gonna be out of a job. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to go down to number 3 on the list. But I almost missed out on my wife, of having her in my life, having this relationship that we have, having a woman that fully supports me, has given her everything to me. Her health is poor because of me, because she just poured everything into me because of my fear of missing out. Thinking about all the booty I was going to be missing while I was out there. We was together for 4.5 years. And I tell people this, some of my friends know this. I don't think I've ever talked about this before, but I think I was in love with her from the first time I saw her. A lot of people talk about love at first sight. Like, I knew almost immediately. We just clicked. I can't even explain it, y'all. We just clicked. And I knew, like, man, this is the girl for me. I knew from the very first time we went out, the very first time we really hung out, she's really my first actual girlfriend. Like, I've dated girls in a while. I've hooked up with girls, you know what I'm saying, in the past. But she's the first person that I was actually in a relationship with, and I knew from the very beginning that she's going to be my girl. But yet, 4.5 years we was together before we got married. And I almost lost her because I was, I ain't afraid to tell y'all the truth. I was out there cheating. I can't tell you how many times I was cheating and stuff because, again, trying to see if the green grass was green on the other side, because I'm a fear of missing out. Man, if I say yes, you know what I'm saying? I'm missing out on all this booty and all that. You know what I'm saying? Fear of missing out. And I almost lost her. You know what I'm saying? And only by the grace of God that me and her are been married for 20 years. This year made 20 years. And it's only by the grace of God that we've been happily married for 20 years. Because if it's up to me, I would have messed that all up. You know what I'm saying? I got a brother that was in the same situation, and it didn't work out as good for him. He had a girl that he had, because me and my bro, we were players back in the day. Y'all know my testimony. I sold drugs back in the day. You know what I'm saying? I lived a drug dealer life. Like you see these dudes try to live, doing the rap videos and stuff. I did all this stuff, had the girls, had the money, the cars, the clothes, and all that. And we had girls, on the regular, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't a big deal. And so he got in a situation. That's why I was the fear of missing out on that. But he got in a situation where, you know what I'm saying, like about the same time I got my girl, he got his girl, his baby mama. And I'll never forget, they had been together for like 5 years. And he was faithful, 5 years. And I never forget, he called me one day. He's like, man, there's this little young girl over in the project, you know what I'm saying? And she want to hook up, and I'm thinking about doing that. And I said, bruh, don't do it. I said, you with this girl, because he was one of those dudes that he wasn't working. His girl was the one working, taking care of him. They living in the projects. He driving her car. He didn't have his own car. I mean, she's fully supporting him. You know what I'm saying? All he had to do was stay at home with the kids. And half the time, they was really young, so he just put them down. He's smoking, drinking all day. I mean, he had the life, you know what I'm saying? And he wanted to mess with this girl, and I said, bro, don't do it. Man, we used to be players, bro. And man, it's time for us to get back out here. I said, man, look, I said, this girl's taking care of you. You got kids together. I said, if you serious about her, I like you. And I hate to say this too, but nothing, he used to put his hands on her. So he wasn't a good boyfriend already. He wasn't a good guy. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't a good guy already, but she stayed faithful to him. Faithful to the dude, working every day, taking care of him and all that. And then he go, man, this young girl, it's been a while. She young, boy. And I said, bro, don't do it. I said, I'm telling you, I said, man, you living in the projects, bro. I said, one thing about folks in the projects, they ain't got nothing to do all day but talk about what everybody else doing. I said, so if you mess with this girl, your baby mama gonna find out and she's gonna finally leave you for good. Man, I said, all right, I'm just telling you. But man, I don't want to miss up on an opportunity. And they were that fear of missing out. And guess what he did? He ended up messing with the girl, and guess what happened? Got the girl pregnant. So he come home one day, and guess what? You know what I'm saying? He went somewhere, came back, baby mama gone. She took the kids and left. You know what I'm saying? Took the kids and left. And he didn't see his kids for 6 years. 6 years. And the only reason why he ended up seeing them, finally getting to see them, he ended up hiring a private investigator. And the private investigator didn't tell her where his baby mom was at, but he's like, look, here's her number. You know what I'm saying? If you're not going to do nothing crazy, here's her number. You can call her and see if she be willing to talk to you. And turns out she was actually suffering from cancer. She was dying from cancer. So she felt bad that she had took the kids. Even though he did it, she felt bad. And she's like, well, you know, before I, you know, I die, would like to have you, you know what I'm saying, the kids, because I'm about to go, would like you to be in the kids' house, lives or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? So she, you know, she let them kind of start talking to kids and eventually visit the kids. And then about 6-7 months later, she passed away. Sad situation. But I say this to say this, he was so depressed about that. Like every time we talk, I mean, for years, man, I miss her. To this day, she's dead and gone. To this day, he still whines about how he messed that up. And I told him, brother, you messed that up. Like I got to a point, I got so sick of hearing about it. I don't want to hear no more. I told you what was going to happen. Your fear of missing out made you go mess with that other girl, and you end up really missing out. And that's what happened to us a lot. That fear of missing out keeps us from doing what God really wants us to do, you know what I'm saying? And we end up really missing out. A lot of y'all are not married right now or in a wholesome relationship right now because of your fear. And it's not because of your fear of commitment. It's because of your fear of missing out. Man, the booty that I'm gonna miss while I'm out there, or you're a girl, or that thing that's out there that I can be getting. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I might come across a rich dude or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's a fear of missing out. It's not necessarily a fear of commitment. It's a fear of missing out because you did commit. And that's why a lot of people are not in good wholesome relationship right now because of that fear of missing out. Or a lot of y'all are in abusive relationships right now because of your fear of being alone. So it all circles back to fear. And that's why I want to help y'all see that's how that fear affects us. It makes us have bad decisions because we're afraid of the unknown. What's going to happen if we do this thing, if we do commit, you know what I'm saying, what's going to happen? Maybe the girl of my dreams that I've been waiting for is going to come looking for me and I done already committed. Oh man, I done messed up. You know what I'm saying? When 9 times out of 10, that's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But it's that fear. That fear gets in our mind and it makes us think irrationally and it makes us do irrational things. And I say most of the decisions that we make, most of the things that we do is out of fear. You know what I'm saying? Most career that children choose is because they fear if they choose the wrong career, their parents won't accept them. I mean, it's so many things that we do out of fear. And we don't realize how crippling that is. You know what I'm saying? And that is that fear. So again, that's why a lot of people won't read their Bible. And I said that's why the devil uses it as a tool that keep you from being who God wants you to be, because you're not spending time in your Bible because you thinking the Bible gonna tell you got to miss out something. So that fear of missing out is keeping you from reading your Bible and having a close relationship with God, and it's actually making you miss out. Ain't that crazy? It's the same with prayer. Most people don't pray because they are afraid that God would actually answer those prayers. And you think he's like, well, I'm afraid. No, most people don't pray because, and y'all got to understand, I'm not just telling y'all something off the top of my head. This is not just theories. I talk to people all the time. I talk to a lot of people. I counsel a lot of people. I'm always running my mouth. That's why I get on here, because I get to run my mouth to y'all. You know what I'm saying? I talk to a lot of people. So what I'm telling you is from experience. I talk to people. I ask them why they do certain things. And a lot of people don't pray. You know what I'm saying? Some of it's just reading between the lines, but a lot of people just tell me from the reason they tell me why they ain't praying or whatever. What it is, they have a fear that God would actually answer those prayers. You know what I'm saying? Now, some of them are afraid that God won't hear them. You know what I'm saying? Some people, and I have to talk to them about that, like God hear everything. You know what I'm saying? Or they feel that their prayers will be rejected, which, you know, and that could possibly happen because you see the Israelites got to a point where they had polluted themselves so bad with idols. The Lord said he didn't want their sacrifice. He didn't want their prayers. I remember one time, I think he was talking to Jeremiah, and he told Jeremiah, don't even pray for them. Yeah, don't even pray for them. You know what I'm saying? So that fear is there. That fear is there, but that fear shouldn't keep it from praying. But most people don't pray. The reason why most people don't pray is because they're afraid that the Lord would answer those prayers. You know what I'm saying? They don't pray for the Lord. They might be struggling with some kind of drug addiction, some kind of sin, whether it's, you know what I'm saying, drugs or alcohol or sex or you know what I'm saying, or whatever it is. And they know that it's a problem because it's been causing a problem in their lives. But they won't pray and ask the Lord to take it away because they don't really want it to be taken away. Now, they may say, oh, yeah, I pray the Lord take this thing away from me. You know, so I was talking to a lady in my ministry, and she watched these videos sometimes, so she might get mad at me. But I ain't gonna say her name. But she was talking, and she was dealing with an addiction problem. Some stuff she was addicted to, and it was drinking. It was an alcohol thing. And she's like, well, you know, so she was all down. I've been praying for the Lord to take it away from me. And yet I got this, you know, so it was like some drink jack or something like that, you know, and I just been eyeballing. And I said, well, you don't really want the Lord to take it away. She said, well, I do want the Lord to take it away from me. I said, well, if you want the Lord to take it away from you, why you even have liquor in your fridge? You know what I'm saying? Why even go get liquor? You can't go be on your way to the liquor store praying for the Lord to take liquor away from you, and then you putting the time and energy and effort to go in and get the liquor, and then leaving the liquor in your house. And she was like, oh man. And I heard her. She actually went and got the bottle. She said, well, it's on a little bit. I said, don't matter. I said, because if you finally give into that temptation and you taste that little bit, what is going to make you want some more? And you're going to go and try to get some more. I said, so you can't convince me that you're truly sincere in your prayer for God to take this away from you when, you know, and she don't have a vehicle. So for her to get to a liquor store, to get to a place to get liquor, there's some time, energy, and effort she has to use to get there, whether it's borrowing a car or walking or whatever. There's a lot of time, energy, and effort that has to be put into her getting that thing. So you can't tell me that you're praying for God to take it away and yet you got liquor sitting in your house. Or you got liquor, you know what I'm saying, or getting people to go take you to get the liquor, or you walking to get the liquor. You're not really praying for it. You don't really want that. And there was most people, they'll say they praying for it to make them feel good about themselves. Well, I pray for the Lord to take this thing away. Okay, if you pray for the Lord, but then there's some actions you got to do. You don't need to be going no bars. You don't need to be going anywhere, you know, you've got a problem with alcohol. You don't need to be going anywhere where alcohol is going to be at. You know what I'm saying? Forget that party. But that fear of missing out. I got to go to that party. My friend might be there. Oh, I ain't going to drink. The next thing you know, your friends are there. Oh, go on, take a sip. You know what I'm saying? That fear of missing out. And that's why I say you can't really be convincing me you're sincere in your prayer about God taking this thing away from you when the very thing you asked him to take away from you, you got sitting in your refrigerator. Pour it out. And she's like, God dang it, you know. And I heard she got, you know, when she said, you can hear the fridge. I heard the fridge. And she was pouring something out. It could have been water. I don't know. She could have been tricking me. But I heard her pouring something out, you know what I'm saying, in the sink or the toilet or whatnot. But my point is, this is what a lot of people do. We say that we pray for God to take it, and we really don't pray for God to take that stuff away from us because we don't want him to take it away from us. It's the same with, you know what I'm saying, you got a problem with dudes or got a problem with girls or drugs. You know what I'm saying? Most people won't pray for God to take those things away because they're afraid that God might really take those things away. I mean, I had a situation where I asked the Lord that when y'all don't know, I struggled with weed for the longest. I struggled back and forth with weed. And my struggle with weed was because I really believe it's from God. I don't believe it's from the devil and all that stuff. But I want to be 100% given to God. And I knew as long as I was smoking weed, I could never have my whole heart given to God. So I really needed to get away from it so I can be an effective servant I wanted to be. So I prayed the last time I prayed, and I truly asked Lord, take this away from me. I always had and I prayed that several times, but I always had a little weed kit. I had a little bag, and it had my little scales in there so I could weigh out my blunts because I always, rolled a certain amount, and I always had my little scales in there, and I had it was where I kept my cigars and all my little baggies so I can take my little to-go sack if I was going to go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I had all my little materials. So even though I was praying for God to take this weed away, and I would have moments where I go a year or two without smoking it, I always kept that bag because just in case I come back to it. So the last time I prayed this, which is about 9 years ago. I prayed it, Lord, please take it away from me. And then I gave that bag away. You know what I'm saying? I never forget, I gave that bag away. And guess what? That was 9 years ago. Now I ain't been back. And I hope I don't go back. Unless I get cancer or something like that, I'd rather take, smoke some weed than take all these pills. It's going to make me sick. But, you know what I'm saying? As far as recreational wise, haven't done it almost 9 years. You see what I'm saying? Because I really meant that. And that's why a lot of people don't pray, because again, they might need some stuff and they may pray for their stuff, but they're afraid God going to actually answer them prayers. And people be like, man, why would you pray for it? Because we pray for it to sound good. It make us feel good. Well, I prayed on it. You know what I'm saying? We wanted to throw it in God. Well, I prayed on it. God just didn't answer it. And then she said, well, I didn't prayed on it. God won't take it away. But you got a bottle of liquor in your fridge. You ain't really praying. You ain't serious about that prayer. And that's why most people don't pray. You know what I'm saying? They don't pray to ask the Lord to take them sins out of their life. Like I said, whether it's drugs or drinking or sex or whatever, because they don't really want them to take it out. You know what I'm saying? They don't pray for the Lord to show them his will for their lives. You know what I'm saying? They don't pray for that. You know what I'm saying? Because his will is going to be contrary to your will. You know what I'm saying? That's what I learned of serving God's will. God's will is often contrary to my will. What I want to do don't matter. When you're dealing with God's will, what you want to do don't matter. God going to have you do what he wants you to do. And 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be where you want to be doing the things you want to do. And so that's why people don't pray for God's will for their life, because they're afraid that God's going to show up and put them in a situation to be. And I pray for that. And he showed them, put me in his will. And when I did, I'm like, God dang it, I opened my big mouth. But I followed, I went, and I've been successful because of it. And it's actually something to come up later. But, you know what I'm saying? I pray for that. But I was serious about it. Most people are not. So that's why most people are like, man, I wish God just showed me what to do. When people tell me that all the time, man, I wish God just showed me what to do. Pray for it. Pray for him to show you. I can't tell you. I can give you my advice. I can give you my opinion, but I don't know what God has for your life. Even with my kids, you know what I'm saying? Like my son, he wants to go to college and play football. Dad, what should I do? I don't know. Now I would love, because he was a phenomenal football player. I would love to see one more time on that football field in a significant game. I would love to see it, but that might not be God's will for his life. And that's what I'll tell him, son. I don't know. Like, yes, I would love to see you on the football field again. My other son won't go back to school. Yes, I'd love to see you back in school, but I don't know if that's God's will for your life. Pray for it. Ask God to show you what his will is. Ask God to guide you in the steps that he has ordered out for you so you can be used by him. That's what you should do. But most people won't do that because they're afraid that God will order them in those steps. And those steps ain't going in the direction that they want to go. They want to go to Miami, but God sent them to Alaska. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. So most people don't pray for God's will for their life out of the fear, again, that God may answer. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Because the thing is, when you pray for God's will for your life, when you pray for stuff, like, most people won't pray for God to use them. Because again, same situation. If God's going to use you, then he's going to put you where he wants you at. He's going to have you doing what he wants you to do, and it's going to put you out of your comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to start prioritizing things. And that's why I tell people all the time, but no, y'all know I gave my life to God 20 years ago. And that's one thing I pray for. I pray for his will for my life. And I pray for him to use me in a mighty way. And what he did, so I can find his will for my life, so I can be used in a mighty way, he changed my priorities. My priority changed. And I would tell people all the time, I'm the same John, Big John I've always been. Anybody that know me know I am, but my priorities have changed. Well, back in the day, it was about making money, hooking up, doing drugs and all that stuff. Now it's about doing God's work. Now it's about, telling people about the Lord. When I wake up, that's the main, man, I hope I get to tell somebody about God today. I get so excited for these, man. I know sometimes y'all feel like I abandon y'all. I be late and moving dates around and stuff. I haven't abandoned y'all. It's just, man, I get so busy, but I be excited, when Mondays come around. Mondays get me excited. I know I get to preach tonight. Unless something else crazy happens, I don't get the time to put my lesson together, I'm going to get to preach tonight. And I pray it's a good message. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was excited about tonight when I started putting this together. I thought, oh, this is a good one. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited about it. I love doing this. You know what I'm saying? This is my priority. Now, this is where I get my joy from. You know what I'm saying? But other than preaching and spending time with my family, that's it. I don't look to go to parties no more and football games and all that stuff. I've done it. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't give me nowhere near the satisfaction that I have in doing this. You know what I'm saying? But my priorities have changed. That's why I love it so much more. You know what I'm saying? That's why I love it. That's why I'm able to do it and able to be consistent in doing it, because my priority has changed. And that's what happens when you ask God to use you. He's going to change your priorities. And your priorities are going to go from taking care of yourself and doing what you want to do to taking care of the things that God has for you to take care of and doing what he wants you to do. And that's why most people won't pray for God to use them, because they're afraid he's going to answer. So again, it affects prayer. You know, the same thing with soul winning. Soul winning. And I'm showing you all the things that fear does. Soul winning. Most people don't go soul winning because they're afraid of what people are going to think about them. You know what I'm saying? They're afraid of people going to think about them. And that's why they don't go. You know what I'm saying? And they're afraid of what people are going to think about it, or they may be afraid of what God's going to send them so they can go reach those souls. Like me, my ministry is the lost sheep. So, you know, I do go in like regular neighborhoods and stuff like that when I have to, but when I got the time to do it, I like going to the projects. You know what I'm saying? I like going to the bad neighborhood. I like to go in the bad, low income neighborhood, low income areas. You know what I'm saying? I remember I was down in Texas. Y'all, I'm pretty sure I've told y'all the story before, but I was a guy I met through Facebook. He started watching me preaching on Facebook, and he always heard me talk about soul winning, so he said he wanted to go with me. So I like, cool. I'm like, well, this is my first time in Texas. It's going to be my first time soul winning in Texas. So I like, well, man, no, I don't know the area. You know the area. You know the dangerous parts, because he used to be a drug addict as well. I said, so you need to pick somewhere we can go. He said, well, where you want to go? I said, man, the more dangerous is where I want to be. Like, if you can probably get shot while you're there, that's where I want to be at. You know what I'm saying? And then I was dead serious about it, because that's my ministry. Most people can't do that, man. People are like, man, you're not scared to go in there? No, I don't have no fear. You know what I'm saying? That fear, if I had that fear, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I wouldn't be able to be the minister of the lost sheep, because that's what it is, the lost sheep. If you see my my little track that I give out, there's a picture on there, and it's this shepherd. And you know what I'm saying? We all perceive it to be Jesus, but it's just a shepherd, and he's hanging off the side of a mountain. You know what I'm saying? He got one hand and his cane in one hand hanging on to this rock. I mean, off the side of this huge mountain, and then his sheep is like right there, and he's just reaching out trying to get that sheep, and it looks like it's an angle, baby sheep, and there's an eagle flying over like he's about to get that sheep, and that shepherd is risking his life to get the sheep. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the one that was lost. He was out there, and that's what I risk my life. Every time I go into these projects, I risk my life to get the sheep. So if I'm going to be the minister of the lost sheep, I can't have that fear. That fear would keep me from doing the work that the Lord has me to do. And that's what I'm sitting here. That's what I'm talking about now, that fear. And that's why most people don't go soul winning, because of that fear. The fear of what people going to think of them, or the fear of where they might have to go to reach those souls. And I ain't going to lie. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell y'all, it's scary. It's not, don't bother me as much now, but it's a scary thing to just randomly go up and knock on somebody's door, because they're not expecting you. And we don't realize, unless you somebody popular, you don't get many visitors. You know what I'm saying? Especially like randomly in the day, there's somebody knocking on your door. So it's a scary concept. Just, you know what I'm saying, walking up and knocking on somebody's door, randomly talking about, you know what I'm saying, random knocking on somebody's door, that's when they know Jesus, because you never know what kind of reception you're going to get. You know what I'm saying? I've never had nothing terribly bad, but I have been cursed out a few times. I've had doors slammed in my face. I've been told, get on my property. You know what I'm saying? I've been told, you know what I'm saying, there's one guy, I remember he taking groceries in, I was trying to give him a track, and he like, man, get out my property before I run in my house. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. He says, I'm sorry, Miss Alicia, I don't know what's going on with it. Mine look normal on the normal end. It might be having one glitch. We talk about a good subject tonight. That might be the devil working on you, but I pray you'll be able to catch some of it, or maybe go back and watch it after I'm done, once I post it on my page. But I do hate you can't get in here, but I appreciate you being here and trying. But again, you know, you never know what kind of reception you're going to get, especially, like I said, in the places that I go. I've never had a bad spirit. I do remember one time I was in projects, and I was getting ready to go knock on this door, and it was like a group of guys out there, and I was going to talk to them, outside. And I was gonna go, and they were like, "Hey, man, this is not the time." And they was kind of look behind them, and there was some dudes off in the cut making a drug deal. I mean, they had dope and money right on the table. So I'm like, all right, man, I'm gonna give y'all this, and I'm gonna keep it to push it. You know what I'm saying? But I've never really had no really bad experiences. But you know what I'm saying? I go to rough places, so I can understand the being afraid. And I think I told y'all before, y'all heard this story before. The one time I was like, I ain't gonna say I was afraid, but I was a little worried when I went in Orlando, because I was in a, you know what I'm saying, rough part of Orlando, and I was dealing with like some young guys. And young people scare me because these days they just don't have no morals, man, and they would kill you for anything. And I walked around, I saw a group of young dudes. I'm like, all right, this would be a good spot. And I didn't realize how many it was. Like, I only saw a few of them, but I didn't realize, like, where they was hanging out at. It was like a building, like, right here, then a building going this way and this way. And it was like space over here. And I didn't see, that's where most of them were, over there, around the corner, where I couldn't see them. So I pulled up and started talking to them. A couple of the guys that I could see, and they said, like 15, 20 dudes come out. They all got on red, and even when I walked up to talk to the ones that I could see, they was having a conversation about their favorite gun they like to use to kill people. That's what they was talking about. You know what I'm saying? And one guy like, I love to hit somebody in the head with an AK and just see them splat. So that's the conversation that I'm walking into. So I'm like, oh Lord, be with your boy. I don't know what you got me into, but you know what I'm saying? So again, yes, my flesh was a little weird. I don't want to say I was afraid, because I still walked up to, I still approached him, but I knew God had my back. And that's what I did. I said a little prayer, Lord, be with me. You know what I'm saying? Give me the right thing to say, because I say the wrong thing, this could be it for me. And I went there and started talking to them young dudes, man, and they was willing to listen, and 15 of those dudes got saved that day. You know what I'm saying? 15 of those dudes got saved. And I never forget, after I shared the gospel, asked the guys to come forward, they want to get saved. 15 of them, they circled all around me. Like I was in the middle of all of them. They circled all around me. So, and I'm got my head bowed, praying something like, man, I hope they don't shank me. I got all kind of stuff going through my mind because of that fear. You know what I'm saying? But I just like, God, you got to have me. And I said the prayer with them. And I remember we got through with the prayer. One guy, he got through and said, man, that felt good. He said, man, y'all know we ain't never prayed like this before together. He said, man, that felt good. And I just like, man, maybe there's something y'all can do from now on. You know what I'm saying? But 15 dudes got saved. But see, if I was afraid to go over there because these dudes was young, because, I mean, I can tell they was thug. They was getting down. I mean, they was making transactions while I was talking to them, if you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? I can see it. I know the game or whatever. But if I was afraid, if I let my fear take over me, those young men probably never got saved and end up dying going to hell. See, that's what fear does. It cripples the work you do for the Lord. But because I put that fear behind me, I put my faith and trust in Jesus Christ to protect me because I was doing his work, I was able to do that work. I had another situation. I was in Nashville, actually, and I had my niece and nephew with me, and they was going soul winning because they was coming up. To stay with me for that weekend. And I said, well, I come pick y'all up, but I got to get my soul winning in. And I had just led them to the Lord a few months before this, and they was interested in building a relationship with God. So I told them the best way to do it is do soul winning. So I like, well, y'all stay down here. Where's a bad neighborhood at? And she's like, oh, the neighborhood we used to live in. I said, well, can y'all take me there? And my niece, I remember she's like, yeah, she said, but I'm not getting out. Excuse me. She said, I'm not getting out. And he said, it's dangerous over there. I said, well, that's where I want to be. And I'll never forget, we went out, and so me and her brother, her brother got out with me or whatever, and me and him started, and she like, I'm just staying in the car. And she did. She stayed in the car for a while, about the first 30 minutes or so, and me and him were just walking up and down the road talking to people. But eventually she said, okay, I guess it's safe. And she ended up coming out of the car and joined us. And we ended up, and I actually walked up on the dude and knocked on his window. You know, because I saw he had just pulled in. So I always try to make sure I get to where they can see me so I'm not just creeping up on somebody. But I did tap on his window, and he let the window down. He looked at me, and he had his hand over here like this. And I just kind of glanced over to see what he had in his hand. He had a pistol in his hand. He's like, man, what you want? And I'm like, hey, man, I'm just here to tell people about the Lord, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, no, man, I ain't trying to hear that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right. So he rolled the window back up. So he was parked in the yard, and on the porch, the house that he was parked at, it was some more people sitting on the porch. So again, I didn't let my fear, the fact that this dude had a gun, keep me from doing the work. I'm like, well, he don't want to talk. Maybe these people on the porch want to talk. So I just walked around his car, went and started talking to some people on the porch. Turns out it was a dude on the porch that got to talking to him a few months before before we was there. He ended up getting shot. And he's like, man, the only way, he said, man, I got shot here. I really should be dead. He said, I know God did it. So I'm like, well, no, are you saved? He's like, nah, I ain't. I said, bro, what would have happened if you would have died that day like you said you're supposed to? Do you know you'd have been there? He said, yeah. I said, do you want to know how you get to heaven? He said, yeah. And I shared the gospel with that dude. And my niece got to be a part of that. And she saw that. And then we walked down the street. There was another gang of dudes, and I got to talk to them. And I noticed she was kind of fidgety or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? The guys, they was cool. And I gave them a card or whatever. They said they didn't really want to talk. So I got to leave, and there was another group of teenagers sitting over there. And I actually think my niece knew one of them or whatever. So I got to talk to them, and it was three of them. Two of them got saved. You know what I'm saying? So we walked off. So 3 people ended up getting saved. And we walked off. She's like, you weren't scared? I'm like, for what? She's like, you didn't see that dude had a gun in his pants? Like, when the ones that you was talking to at first, I said, man, I wasn't even paying attention to that. I was going to worry about serving the Lord. You see what I'm saying? When I go in there, that's the only way I can do that work. I can't let the fear keep me from doing that work. I can't let the fear get in my heart and get in my mind and keep me from being as bold as the Lord needs me to be to do his work, because there are some people there that need to hear that gospel. And that's what fear does. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And it's funny, like when we think about atheists, most people are atheists because of fear. They're afraid of the afterlife. They're afraid that when we do die, there's going to be some place that we have to go. We're going to have to face God one day. You know what I'm saying? They won't say it. They just say, oh, it's stupid. You're an idiot and you believe in the sky daddy and all that. And really, it's just they're afraid to believe. They're afraid of the afterlife. You know what I'm saying? So they choose to say they don't believe in anything because it helps them sleep at night. And they don't realize that's not going to get them out of judgment. You know what I'm saying? Because the Bible over in Titus 2:11 says the grace of God that brings about salvation has appeared unto all men. So that means that every person on this earth, you ever walked this earth, at some point in your life, you had the opportunity, you saw the hand of God, you had the opportunity to come to know God, and you just chose not to. So you're not going to be able to get away from the judgment. But most atheists are atheists because they're afraid that there is an afterlife. They're afraid that there is a God that they're going to have to answer to when they go through the door called death. So they choose to just say they don't believe because they think, oh, if they don't believe, then they don't have to worry about it. And they so sad and mistaken. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, it was funny. I ain't gonna say funny. I was talking to a guy this past weekend. I was out soul winning, and I came across this guy. And he said, I used to be a Christian, but now I'm an atheist. You know what I'm saying? And his son, of course, followed in his footsteps. But we actually really had a good conversation. And we got to talking about it, you know what I'm saying? He made this statement himself. He said, honestly, man, I'm terrified. Because I was talking about life, you know what I'm saying, after death and heaven. You don't want to get to heaven and things like that. And he said, this was his actual words, he said, man, honestly, he said, to be honest, I'm terrified of the notion that there could possibly be a situation where I have to be somewhere, I'm stuck somewhere forever. You know what I'm saying? Living eternally. He said, I'm hoping, he said, when I die, I just want just the end and that be it. You know what I'm saying? I told him, I said, man, look, you said you used to be a Christian. I said, so I'm guessing you believe in science. I said, and you got to understand something. What are we? We are nothing but energy. That's all we are. We are balls of energy. And this flesh, you know what I'm saying, holds that energy in. And that energy is spiritual. We're balls of spiritual energy. And that flesh holds that energy in. And once the flesh dies, what the energy do? It goes back to the source. I said, you guys said, so let's take a science approach. I said, what is the science? I said, you saying that you want to be in a situation where something, where you know what I'm saying, where you last forever, you want to end. I said, but what does science say about energy? I said, you in there, and he agreed to me. I got to say, you agree to me that we are energy, right? Then yeah. I said, so what does science say about energy? He said, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. I said, exactly. So we've always existed and we will always exist according to science, which is what you believe in. I said, so how can you know what I'm saying, say you used to be a Christian now? And I talked to him, he's one of those, he's smarter than God. So, you know what I'm saying, but I believe a seed was planted. If not with him, his son, because his son was very interested in what I was saying. And his son was answering, and you know what I'm saying, asking me questions and things like that. But my heart goes out, and he even allowed me to pray with him before I left. So I'm praying that a seed really was planted. But that's why, you know what I'm saying, he's an atheist, because he's afraid. You know what I'm saying? He's afraid of believing in God, because if he has to believe in God, then guess what? There's some things he's going to have to answer for. There's some things he's going to have to atone for. You know what I'm saying? And he's afraid of it, and most atheists are afraid of that. So that's why they just don't believe in God. You know what I'm saying? That's why they don't believe in God, because, again, it helps them sleep at night. Fear. This is what fear does to us. And that's why fear is such a weak emotion, like Lupe said. It's such a weak emotion. You know what I'm saying? And some of us, you know what I'm saying, won't been called. There's some of you right now watching this video that's been called to preach, and you won't do it because you're afraid to do it. Because you're afraid to tell the truth. That's what being a preacher is, telling the truth, taking the truth to the world. That's the whole point of being a preacher, is telling the truth. And most of y'all are too afraid to tell the truth. So even though the Lord has called you to preach, you're not doing it because you're afraid to tell the truth. There's actually another, I talked about Lupe Fiasco earlier. There's another one that's quotes from that same song. He said, most of us, he said, we are so afraid. He said, fear is such a weak emotion. I'm messing up. My bad, Lupe. You ain't gonna watch this anyway. But he said, fear is such a weak emotion. That's why I despise it. They're afraid of even telling the truth. Afraid of something like afraid of even telling the truth. Well, most of us afraid of telling the truth. And then he said something like, I'm afraid of what you think of me, or I'm afraid of even telling you. You know what I'm saying? But again, it goes back. Most of us are afraid to tell the truth. And that's why when God calls us to preach, we're afraid to do anything. I remember when God called me to preach, I didn't want to do it. I'm like, man, you got to be under the scrutiny. You got to live. I felt you got to live a certain way. You got to do everything. You got to be this you know what I'm saying, role model and live directly in every commandment to the Bible. And Lord, no, be yourself. Be yourself. Just make sure your priorities change. Make sure where at first you had me on the back burner, I'm at the forefront. But still be Big John. You know what I'm saying? Be Big John. And of course, you want to improve yourself. You know, I try to set a higher standard for myself to live, and I try to hold myself more accountable, but I still fail all the time. Y'all know it. I still have flaws. I fail all the time. You know what I'm saying? But most people won't do it. They won't become a preacher because they're afraid to tell the truth. You know, so there was a survey done a few years back. I can't remember the exact year, but it was a few years back. And according to the survey, for the first time in the United States history, because, you know, this is supposed to be a quote unquote Christian nation, which is not anymore. We're nowhere near it. But for the first time in the history of the United States, a majority of people, I think it was something like 51% of people no longer attended church with the survey they did. You know what I'm saying? And for the first time in U.S. history, the majority of people no longer go to church. No, they no longer, not only do they not go to church, they don't even believe in the church. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I don't blame them. I don't blame them because the church used to be the one place you can go and get the truth. There used to be the one place you can go get the truth according to the Word of God. According to the Word of God, this is the truth here. There used to be the one place you can do it, and it's no longer that anymore. Churches are not only church is more of a social club than anything these days. You rarely find a church where you can go in there and actually get the truth. You know what I'm saying? Because the leaders of the church has become so spineless and so weak. You know what I'm saying? So spineless, they refuse to tell the truth because they don't want to offend anybody. They don't want to make their members upset. They don't want to piss off Mr. Fat Wallet and he stopped giving his tithe. No, they'll tiptoe. No, you hear preachers say, they tiptoe around the tithers. They won't get a truth. You know what I'm saying? They don't want their members start leaving because they offended somebody because they actually told the truth and offended somebody, and their members start leaving and their attendance drop. You see what I'm saying? So I don't blame people for not going to church anymore because church is not what it's supposed to be because you don't have people that's leading the truth that have enough spine and have enough balls or have enough of the Spirit of God in them really to really tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? The word is so watered down that you can't get anything from it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. That's a statistic. I don't know the exact numbers, but if I had to guess, I would say a majority of the people, I would say about 7% of people that attend church on a regular basis are not even saved. That is insane to me. If you think about that, insane thing, they go to brother so-and-so, he in church every Sunday and all that. Brother so-and-so, that same brother so-and-so or sister so-and-so that's in church every Sunday night, Sunday morning and Sunday night and Wednesday night, that same probably sitting there unsaved because they church never did teach them the truth. I remember I went to, matter of fact, this happened when I was in Orlando as well. Came across this lady, nice lady. You know what I'm saying? Me and her talked, and she actually told me where to go soul winning. I think she was setting me up. But she actually told me where to go soul winning there because I told her I wanted to find a place that was, pretty rough, pretty bad. And she invited me to a church. She was a good church going person. And I went to a church and we sat there in that freaking church for almost 3 hours, y'all. They worshiped and they sung songs and they prayed in tongues. They did all that. But the dude preached for like 5 minutes. And I remember sitting there thinking to myself, I never try to judge a church or anything like that. But I do remember sitting there thinking to myself, like, if I was a lost person when I went there and I was looking to get saved, I would have left there just as lost as I was because they did not preach the word at all. Yeah, they praised and they worshiped and they sung and they spoke in tongues. They did all that crap, but they didn't give me what I need. They didn't give me any truths. You know what I'm saying? I went there, and like I said, I don't go to church just to judge and preach and see what, but I go to church looking for truth. When I go to church, the music is good. It's fine. The singing is fine. You know what I'm saying? But when I go to church, I'm going to church to get a truth. That's the purpose of going to church, is to get a truth. And when I go to church, I'm going to get a truth. And when I went to that church, I didn't get not one truth. You know what I'm saying? So I understand why 51% of people no longer go to church because there's no longer truth in the church. People are afraid of church. Why? Because that's why we got these huge mega churches with people like Joel Osteen. You know what I'm saying? These huge mega church people like Joel Osteen is preaching. They got these huge churches, these huge following, but they don't believe in preaching on sin. You know what I'm saying? I saw that he was doing an interview, and somebody asked like, you don't really, I don't really believe that I need to preach about sin. What? You know what I'm saying? If I was in the family, I would have said, nigga, what? There's no, find me one time in the Bible where the Lord called a prophet or a person to preach and he told them, don't talk about sin. Every single time he called somebody to preach, he told them, go and point out their sins. Show them their sins. Maybe they would turn their hearts back to show them they say, well, I think people know that they're sinners and I don't need to preach it to them. What? But that's what the churches have become. They're not really churches. They're not places of truth anymore. They're a social club. You know what I'm saying? They're a social club. That's why you have nowadays, because nobody's willing to stand on the word of God, because nobody's willing to stand on truth. That's why we have our societies in the situations in now. That's why you can go to churches and you have churches that have openly gay pastors in the church. You know what I'm saying? The Lord said being a homosexual is an abomination, and you got somebody that's openly practicing up there with the little rainbow scarf around his neck in church preaching. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens when you don't want to tell the truth. You see what I'm saying? I remember what, I'll never forget it. Y'all probably heard me tell the story before, but I'll tell it again because it's relevant. I'll never forget when they first legalized like homosexual marriages. I'll never forget that. I was down in Nashville. I was down there in Nashville on the West End. And there's this huge, like really old, probably like 200-300-year-old church. It's one of those old, rustic looking churches or whatever. It's a Methodist church. And I'll never forget, I was down there around that week where they legalized gay marriage. And I drove past that church, and over the door of the church was this huge rainbow flag on the church celebrating that. You know what I'm saying? If people want to be homosexual, they do. But us in the church, we should still stand on the truth. And it clearly say there's a lot of stuff that you can debate about, you know what I'm saying, the word of God, alcohol and all that stuff. But there's one thing you can't, how God feels about homosexuality. And he says it's an abomination. You know what I'm saying? Now, I love the people, hate the sin. But we definitely should be celebrating that in church. But because people are afraid to tell the truth, we do. You see what I'm saying? And it's insane that we got, you know what I'm saying? We got openly gay pastors and they're actually gay churches now. I didn't know that. I remember a few years ago, I met this young guy in Murfreesboro one night. Gave him and his friends a ride to Taco Bell, some college kids. And me and him kind of hated out because he was from Memphis. And I told him, man, you ever need anything? So he knew I was a pastor. Well, I hadn't became a pastor yet, but I was telling him about God and things like that. And I let him, because he was in the music, I let him hear my God's Will song. And I remember I said, man, if you ever need anything, got any question, anything, give me a call. And, and we talked a couple of times over the year, but one day he called me and he was stressed. I'll never forget it. It was like 10 o'clock at night. I was just getting ready to go to bed. He come right before we go to bed and he was stressed. And I got to talk to him, like, what's up, man? He said, man, I got a situation. He said, I'm with this girl and, you know what I'm saying, and good girl, love her to death. And she go to this church and she's been going to it for years. He said, and she, convinced me to start going back to church. I'm like, what? This is sounding good. Like, what's the problem? And he's like, man, it's a good church. Love the preacher, man. The preacher can preach his butt off. And yada. So everything is sounding good. So I'm like, well, what's the problem? He said, it's a gay church. I said, what do you mean it's a gay church? He said, man, it's a gay church. The pastor's gay. Most of the members are gay. They even got a gay Bible. I'm like, where do you get a gay Bible from? But they even got a gay Bible. You know what I'm saying? He says it's a gay church. That's the kind of stuff that's happening right now in our society because people are afraid to tell the truth. People are afraid to say that. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I know I say it on here because I got a small ministry. Nobody gonna hear it anyway. But even if I had a huge ministry, I would still tell the truth because that's what God has commissioned me to do. If you're not telling people the truth, then you're not helping them. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, my friend, when she was, my ministry member, when she was talking, I'm praying for God to take it away, he won't. I had to hit her with the truth. I said, you don't really want God to take it away because you wouldn't have that liquor in your fridge. Well, it's only a little bit. It don't matter. You wouldn't have none because there's a temptation. I said, matter of fact, you wouldn't even have no liquor around you because you don't even have a car. I said, so in order to get the liquor, you got to put in time and effort. So you're not really, I had to tell her the truth and I'm hoping it helped her. That was last week. I'm hoping it helped her. You know what I'm saying? But you got to understand, people don't want to tell the truth. And that's why our society is where it's at right now. That's why most people won't preach, because they're afraid of telling the truth. They're afraid of getting canceled. They're afraid of losing their job. And that's crazy. You can get canceled and lose your job because you tell the truth. Speaking of when gay marriages got legal, I remember y'all might remember the story. There's a lady in Kentucky. She was like the county court clerk or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she had a checker pass just like everybody else, but she wouldn't sign the gay marriage certificates. She wouldn't get them. And man, they made a big stink of it, and they put her in jail. They told her if she didn't do it, she'd go to jail. They put her in jail and everything. I don't know if she lost her job. I know she was about to lose her job. I think she ended up getting reinstated or something. But man, I mean, and then of course they ripped her apart and talked about her past, and I think she had been married a couple of times or something like that. And I mean, they just made this lady out to be evil because she spoke the truth. A man and a man not supposed to be getting married. A woman and a woman not supposed to be getting married. I believe in God. I'm not going to sign these certificates. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of stuff will happen if you tell the truth. And most people are afraid of that. So even though they've been called to preach, even though they've been called to spread the word of God, they won't do it because they're afraid of telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? That's why you think about it. That's why this transgender and this gay pride stuff have gotten, you know what I'm saying, taken over. And it's really gotten out of hand. We got a whole month celebrating something the Lord has said is an abomination. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because we're afraid of telling the truth. If you believe a man's supposed to be a man or a woman's supposed to be a woman, you have a mental illness. If you believe a man can become a woman or a woman can become a man, you have there's something wrong with you. I don't even want to say normal because I don't want to be like, what is normal? It is something wrong with you. You have a mental illness. Now, if you want to do it, fine. You have the right to do it. If God ain't gonna stop you from doing it, who am I? But I'm not gonna to celebrate you. I'm not gonna to give in to this. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna call you by a different pronoun. I'm not gonna call you no them day. I'm not doing none of that stuff. I'd rather just not talk to you. If I talk to somebody like use my pronouns, I'm done. That's the end of the conversation right there. I don't care if I need a job from or money from or whatever. That's the end of the conversation right there. I'm not talking to you because I'm not giving in to that. But see, people don't want to tell the truth no more. They don't want to tell the truth. So the churches have the one place we're supposed to get truth. They're not even telling the truth because they're afraid of telling the truth because they're afraid of what's going to happen. They're afraid of losing their church. They're afraid of losing their membership. They're afraid of getting canceled or whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's fear. And again, so that's why I say I want to spend time on this so we can see what fear really does to us, what it does to our society, what it does to us as a human race, what it does to us as an individual. You see what I'm saying? Fear can really cripple us as a race of people, and it can really cripple us, definitely cripples us as the children of God. And Satan knows that, and that's why he used that fear. You know what I'm saying? And fear will cripple you as an individual, to keep you from being successful. Again, it cripple you from being a child of God, doing the work that God has for you to do. You can't be afraid to do God's work. You can't be afraid to tell the truth. And it ain't no my truth. No, that's another thing they go to these days. Oh, well, you tell your truth. No, it ain't my truth. There's only the truth. There's only one truth. Everybody don't get everybody, everything else is an opinion. There's only one truth, and that truth is Jesus Christ. Like he said himself, I am the truth, the way, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. That's all the truth it is in this world. It's only one truth. You know what I'm saying? But fear can keep you from that truth. Fear will keep you from being a preacher and telling that truth, and fear will keep you from that truth. And again, that's why a lot of people don't want to get saved. A lot of people don't want to get saved because they're afraid. They're afraid, and it's so sad. They're afraid of what they're going to have to do face when they come before God someday. But they don't understand. They still going to come before God whether you're afraid of it or not. I'd rather be on the good side. That's what I was talking to that dude this weekend. Like, man, I'd rather be on the good side. Like, I just rather not. I said, all right. All I can do is pray for you. And I end up praying with him. And it's funny. I end up praying with him. And then I went next door and knocked on the door and ended up leading this next door neighbor to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So it still ended up being a good day. But you know what I'm saying? Fear can do that. It can cripple you. It can cripple you. Like I said, it can cripple us. It's crippling us as the human race. You can see that now with the whole gay and transgender stuff. People are losing their freaking mind. It's crippling you as a child of God. You're not reading your Bible like you're supposed to, not soul winning and praying like you're supposed to. You're not preaching like you're supposed to because you're afraid. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it can cripple you as an individual as well. It can keep you from becoming successful. Just like I was talking about in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Fear almost kept me from becoming a chemist. You know what I'm saying? Even after all that money I spent going in that darn school, all that time and effort I put into getting into TSU and going into TSU and doing all that, it almost kept me from being a chemist. You know what I'm saying? Even after all that time and effort I put into school. And I'll never forget, it was a friend of mine, one of my college roommates, that made me realize this. Because at the time, this was back in 2004, I had graduated, had my degree, and I was working I got a degree in chemistry, and I'm working at Sonic Drive-In, trying to support. At the time, I had what I have? I had three kids at that time. I had my wife, one baby mama, she wasn't working, so I was taking care of her, and 3 kids, and was pregnant with the 4th. You know what I'm saying? And I'm working at Sonic Drive-In. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't even a manager. I was just a regular worker. Why? Because I was afraid of going and working in the white man's world. And I'll never forget, I had that dumb conversation with my buddy, and he's like, man, he told you that, bro, you just got a degree in chemistry. Why are you still working in so I'm like, man, I don't want to go and work with those white people, and they're going to have me cut my hair, because I had my hair was all long. I had like braids when I actually had hair. It was all long, and I was just like a wild man. I had this huge beard, and like, man, they're going to make me cut my hair, and they're going to make me do this and make me do that. And he's like, boy, you a fool. He said, it ain't no way in the hell I'll spend all this time and effort to get his degree. And I'm sitting there like, man, what you afraid? And he said, what are you afraid of? You supposed to be a man of God. You ain't got to worry about what these white folks going to do to you. You know what I'm saying? If God is really with you, and that's what he said, if God is really with you, you ain't got to worry about the white folks to do. You go in there and you do the best you can, work the best you can, and be successful, bro. He said, man, stop wasting your talent. And I'll be darned, the very next week, I went and applied, got my first chemistry job, and now it's been 20 plus years and I've been a chemist. You know what I'm saying? But fear almost kept me from having to work around white people, because I understood, because you got to understand, you don't find a lot of black people in chemistry. You know what I'm saying? It's not, I've been working, like I said, I've been doing this 20 years, and I know a handful of black people that are chemists. This is not something. So I knew once I got in the career, I was going to be around all white people all the time. You know what I'm saying? But I'm perfectly fine. And I was, like, again, I was afraid, I'm going to turn into an Uncle Tom, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And I had all these fears, and it was keeping me from being successful. And it took my buddy just popping me upside the head, so to speak, and putting some truth into me. And like, man, you being stupid. You know what I'm saying? You got a family support, and you ain't going to support this family working in no darn Sonic Drive-In. He said, you got a degree, and you know what I'm saying? He said, man, you like a freaking unicorn. Like, how many black chemists do you know? And I was like, see, that's what I'm talking about. I don't know any. He said, exactly. Go out there and be the first. You know what I'm saying? Be the first one. And I've been there, and there's a lot of, and you think about it, how many people know chemists, let alone a black one? I'm like a unicorn around here. But I almost missed out on all that, and it's been a blessing. I've been enjoying it, and I've met some great friends. Yes, I got a lot of white friends and a lot of white people, but I've enjoyed my life I've had once I got into that chemistry world. You know what I'm saying? But my fear almost kept me from that. You know what I'm saying? Fear almost kept me from moving to Waverly and becoming the minister. This lost sheep ministry, it almost didn't happen, y'all. Because I had to move to Waverly to become it, you know, because I had by the time before we moved here, I had already been serving God for 10 years, but I was living in Murfreesboro. And like I said, yes, I was, you know what I'm saying, I was working on the bus route in Murfreesboro, going down to projects, picking kids up. I was doing that, but I was really doing bare minimum. You know what I'm saying? Yes, if somebody wanted to talk about God, I can, share my testimony to them, but I wasn't actually actively soul winning. I wasn't actually, you know what I'm saying, preaching like I am now. It wasn't until I moved here that I started preaching. The Lost Sheep Ministry started when I moved up here and started going to River Lake Baptist Church. That's why, I put it on the sign, sponsored, because it really helped me, you know what I'm saying, get to another level of spirituality that I never would have got had I stayed in Murfreesboro. But man, I was afraid to move here. You know what I'm saying? This is a little, like I said, I'm from Memphis. So what you know is a huge town, mostly black people. And then I moved to Nashville, which is a huge town, got a pretty decent population of black people. And then I lived in Murfreesboro, which is not such a huge, it's a medium-sized town, but still got a pretty good mix of, you know what I'm saying, black people in there. And then Waverly was like 3 black people, you know what I'm saying, in the middle of the woods. Like, man, I was scared. That was my worst nightmare when I found out I had to move here, and I almost didn't want to do it. But I never forget, my son didn't want to move. I didn't want to move. And I remember talking to my son, and he like, man, Dad, like, we really gonna move there? And he said, man, I don't want to. I said, son, I don't want to neither. I said, man, I don't know if these people gonna be racist. I don't know. I'm a big old black dude. I stick out like a sore thumb. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty confident in myself and who I am. I don't know how these white folk gonna take it. I don't know. I might offend some people. Might end up in a tree. That was my thinking. I said, but I know this is what God wants it. I said, if this God work out and they meet the terms that I've given them, then this is always what God wants us at, and we got to go. I said, it's the only way we're going to be blessed. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be darned. We moved here, and now it wasn't even, we moved here in February of 2014. And by December 2014, December the Christmas, the week of Christmas 2014, I had did my first sermon as a preacher. I started preaching that matter of fact, I did my first share my testimony at the church, and that was the first time I actually preached at the church behind a pulpit in a suit, and I've been preaching ever since. So not even, you know what I'm saying, 10 months after I moved there, I became a preacher. And then the next year, I started soul winning, learned soul winning, and I've been doing it ever since. Matter of fact, the first time I really went out soul when I got it was in October of 2015. And since then, I've been able to, by the grace of God, I've been able to lead over 650 people to the Lord. All that wouldn't happen if I let my fear get to me and keep me from moving here, because it's a white town. It's in the middle of the woods, and I'm afraid of these rednecks and what they're going to do. See, that's what fear does. It cripples you. It keeps you from advancing. You see what I'm saying? And it can get you. Fear almost got Job. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't catch that in the story of Job, but fear almost got Job. Job almost was he almost failed because of his fear. You see what I'm saying? His fear almost got him, because if you read the book of Job, I can't remember exactly what verse it is, but you read it and give you some Bible in. But he said when he was talking to his friends, he said the thing that I had feared the most had happened. So it shows you that he was always afraid. That's why the devil knew that if he took Job's stuff away from him and took his kids and stuff, that Job would curse God, because the devil knew that Job had a fear of that things happening. You know what I'm saying? He had a fear that he would lose all his money and be broke. He had a fear that he would lose all of his kids. He had a fear that he would get some kind of incurable disease. He feared that stuff, and the devil tried to use it against him. Luckily, his faith outweighed his fear, and he ended up, you know what I'm saying, making it through, but he feared it. You know, read it sometime. He said, the things that I have feared has happened to me. So it shows you that he had fear in his heart, and the devil tried to use that against him. But again, luckily, thank God, he had more faith than he had fear. And that's how he was able to make it through. And he still pissed God off. Because remember, God came at him toward the end, like, nigga, who are you to be asking me all these questions? What have you created? What have you done? You know what I'm saying? Why do you think you got the right to question me and what I've done, and you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. So he almost lost it. And it was because of fear. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I want to do this lesson. That's why I said I wasn't going to rush through this lesson when I started putting this together. You know, and I had so much more. You know, I had to cut a lot out. And there's probably some of y'all like, man, he didn't cover this, he didn't cover that. I can't cover it all. You know, I still got a pay and a half to go, and I'm already right here in my time. You know what I'm saying? But again, fear does that. Fear is, and it's so important to help you see what fear does to your life. And you got to get to a point where you're not making decisions based off of fear. Because when you make a decision based off of fear, you're going to always make the wrong decision. And that's why I no longer, because of the grace of God, I no longer deal with fear in any kind of form or fashion. Because I truly believe and I truly understand the significance of the birth of Christ. And that's what it brought in. Because of the birth of Christ, it can alleviate all that fear. I don't have to fear going to hell because of the birth of Christ. You see what I'm saying? I don't have to fear living a life of obscurity because of the birth of Christ, because I believe and understand the significance of the birth of Christ. Because think about this. Think about these guys. It says, go back to our text verse. He said, that night some shepherds were in the field outside the village, guarding their flocks of sheep. Suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared among them, and the radiance of the Lord's glory surrounded them. They were terribly frightened, but the angel reassured them, don't be afraid, he said. Now, of course, if you know your Bible, you know the Bible, they went on, and the angel told them where to go, and they got to see the actual Christ child. They got to hold you. They had got to be in the presence of God, as right as he was born to this earth. They got to see that. Imagine if they were so afraid that when they saw the angel, they ran away. They would have missed the opportunity to actually be in the presence of God. And that's what the devil does to us. He gets us afraid, and we run away from this work that God has for us to do. We run away from this discipline that God is going to bring into our life. We run away from the priorities that God is going to give us. We run away from that, and we miss being in the presence of God. And that's what would have happened to these guys if they let the fear get the best of them. And that's why I don't I don't deal with fear in any form or fashion. Any form of fashion, I don't deal with fear. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I have my little worries, but it's a difference between being worried and being fearful. And I don't deal with fear. You know what I'm saying? Because you see, this is what, and the main reason why I don't deal with fear, And the Bible tells us there, because fear is not of God. And that's why I don't fear. Not because I'm such a badass, part of my language. Not because I'm just a bad dude and arrogant. It's because fear is not of God. So if you living in fear, or you deal with fear, or you make decisions based off of fear, that is not of God. Because you look at 2 Timothy 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, it says this. It states that I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So if you have a spirit of fear in your heart and God is not giving it to you, where does it come from? It comes from the devil. See, that does come from the devil. They say we come from the devil. No, God said he made created all the herbs and the plants. But this does come from the devil because he just said, I have not given you a spirit of fear. You see what I'm saying? So why would you deal with fear in any form of fashion or anything that's designed to make you afraid? Because that's not of God. And you have to understand that. That's why I said this lesson is so important. We don't do that and we deal with fear. Oh, will fear keep us alive? Fear? No, God keeps you alive. The grace of God keeps you alive. You don't have to fear. The only fear that we should have, you know what I'm saying? So I guess fear, the one only good aspect of fear there is the fear of the Lord. That's the only fear you should have in your heart. The fear of the Lord, because it says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. You know what I'm saying? So other than the fear of the Lord, you shouldn't have any fear in your heart. And when I replace my fear of the world and all the things that can go wrong and the evil in the world and all the craziness of the world, when I replace my fear of the world with the fear of God, all that fear went away. All of it went away. And that's why now that I've got it away, it's gone, I don't deal with it at all. I don't deal with fear on any level. That's why, you know what I'm saying, I'm no longer, and I don't even deal with or mess with or be involved in anything that's the point of it is to cause fear. You know what I'm saying? What am I talking about? Like stuff like scary movies. I don't watch scary movies no more. Not because I'm afraid of them, because I know it's just a movie. Not because I'm afraid or if I watch them, I'm not going to be able to sleep. No, I don't deal with that. Why would I bring that fear? That movie's designed to scare me. It's designed to make me afraid. It's designed to put fear in my heart. Why would I let something in my heart that is not of God? So I don't watch scary movies. I don't allow it in my house. You know what I'm saying? My kids know. Don't bring it in my house. I have my little nieces. They would come in after school because they stay down the road from us. So after school they would come in. And one day I came in and one of my nieces watched some scary movies. Cut that off. Don't play that in my house. I'm not allowing them spirits in my house because you don't realize when you play that stuff in your house on the TV, you're letting them spirits in, especially when you're dealing with watching them movies that dealing with like demon possessions and stuff like that. And you watch these movies where they doing witchcraft and they saying these incantations. And a lot of times you think, oh, they just saying random gibberish that sound like, no, they really be saying like curse words. They really be doing curses. They be saying incantations. They like, cause I remember that show Supernatural. They actually did on that show Supernatural. They was always saying all kind of incantations and stuff. Now I watched it before I knew this. And you know what I'm saying? It was too late, a little too late. But they really be doing incantations and using like actual, you know what I'm saying, curse words from some witchcraft and stuff like that. So when you watching these shows and you watching these incantations, you're letting that stuff into your house. You're letting that stuff into your heart. So why do that? If you know, it just said it, that I have not given you a spirit of fear. So why would you allow that spirit of fear in your heart if you know it's not of God? So I stopped watching scary movies. I don't watch scary movies at all no more. Not even interested in them. You know what I'm saying? I used to. Now don't do it no more. Again, not because I'm afraid of them, because I don't go to haunted houses. You know what I'm saying? Haunted houses, stuff like that. Because again, it's designed to incite fear in you. It's designed, those haunted houses is designed to put the spirit of fear in you, and it's not of God. So I don't go to haunted houses. Not that I'm afraid. I remember when I was a kid, I worked in a haunted house. They had this haunted house come in Memphis, and it was about 3 or 4 blocks from where I lived at. I worked in a haunted house. You know what I'm saying? But it's designed to put fear in your heart. Why would you make it be? And this season, and that's why honestly, this lesson came by. I wish it was a little bit later toward the end of the month, but God had it right. You know, so give y'all some time to think about it before you start participating in Halloween, because that's another one. I don't participate in Halloween at all. I don't participate in Halloween at all. Don't decorate my house. Don't, you know what I'm saying? My wife, she know, don't decorate. If she can put little fall stuff up, little pumpkins and stuff like that for fall, but you not putting no spooky stuff up on my house. I'm not dealing with that. Like my kids, and I know my kids hated it because it was about say 6-7 years ago when we stopped celebrating Halloween. And again, I used to do it just like everybody else. And I was the same way. Oh, I'm a Christian, so I'm going to dress him up as like a little bunny or something cute. You still participate in the day. You're still giving your energy to that day. So you still participate in evil. And what is the whole purpose? The whole purpose of Halloween, the whole premise of that day is fear. It deals with death and evil. Why would you celebrate? You call yourself a Christian. Why would you celebrate this? And I know this is not going to be a popular opinion. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, the same lady that I was talking to about the alcohol thing, she's been a part of my ministry for years, and I haven't beat her over the head with it, but she know I've told her, like, you got to stop participating in this stuff. Because she was always dealing with, seemed like demons. You know what I'm saying? She's always dealing with stuff, and she actually used to do the occult stuff. And I'm saying, you sitting here celebrating Halloween? Like, that's the last thing. You can't call, if you call yourself a Christian, you should not be participating in Halloween at all. Because the day is, the whole, think about the decoration. What is it? Ghouls, goblins, witches, dead bodies, skeletons. You know what I'm saying? Death, fear. Everything is to incite fear. Why would you participate in it? That should let you know right there that God is not in it, because God does not give you a spirit of fear. And what really made me come to the realization, something I used to watch near-death video. I don't get the time to do it no more. But I used to watch near-death experience videos all the time. And I watched a couple on heaven, but I always liked it. I don't know why I was obsessed with doing it, but I always watch the ones where people died and went to hell. That's the ones I like to watch, because that's the one that's kind of get my spirit, you know what I'm saying, riled up to get out there and do this work, because I don't want people to go to these places, because with the people that died and went to these places, it was a horrible experience. Matter of fact, just about every video I watched where somebody died and they went to hell, they came back and now they're preachers. You know what I'm saying? That's how powerful it was, the experience was. But I remember watching this one video of this lady, and she was an ex-witch. And she was talking about why Christians shouldn't participate. She's like an ex-witch. She basically like, it's like the Halloween for Satan worshipers and the devil and people of the occult and all that. Halloween is the equivalent. The Halloween to them is the equivalent of what Christmas is to us. And that was even the guy, Anton LaVey. The guy that was the head of the Church of Satan, that started the Church of Satan. He even was quoted saying, "I think he said, I'm so glad that Christians at least let their kids celebrate the devil once a year because they participate in Halloween." And that's what you're doing. You don't realize if you participate in that day, I don't care how cute your kid is. I don't care if you dress them up as a little June bug. It's so cute. If you participate in Halloween at all, you are actually, that day, you're worshiping the devil. If you got decorations on your house and you're giving out candy and all that, you are worshiping the devil. You are partaking in the worship of the devil and the darkness of this world. And you call yourself a Christian, why would you be doing that? You know what I'm saying? In fact, I felt so bad today. Y'all know I just started this new job. I've been working there about a year now as a contractor, just over a year, but I officially started as an actual worker on May the 27th of this year. So, the cleaning lady, nice lady, I love her to death. And she was going around, she's decorating for Halloween. Now, it's their company. I can't tell them what to do. You know what I'm saying? It's their company. I can't say, y'all shouldn't be doing this. That ain't my business. I'm still a new guy. But one thing she was doing, she was hanging up like little decoration on everybody's doors. You know what I'm saying? Because I have an office or whatever. So she was hanging up these little decorations on doors. Some people she was putting like ghouls, and some people she put like scary pumpkins, and some people she put like witches. So I got a hook on my door. I don't know, like I said, I don't know why it's there, but there's a hook on my door. And she came in, and it was kind of at the top of the door, and she was trying to reach it. And she was like, could you help? And it was another lady in there. She's like, I can't help you. Like, girl, you just short as me. So she went back and got something else that could reach up there. And she had this ghoul. And I told her, I said, Miss Wonder, I said, no offense, but I appreciate it if you didn't put that on my door. Like, I don't celebrate this holiday at all. Like, what you guys do, that's on y'all. I said, I'm not trying to be defensive or be a butt or anything like that. I don't celebrate that day, and I don't want nothing to do with it. And I definitely don't want to hang it on my door. I don't want some ghoul hanging on my door every time I walk in for the next, few weeks. He said, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, no, it ain't like that. I don't participate in that day. I don't believe that we should. Like, if y'all do, that's on y'all. They're going to have a costume contest. I'm not going to participate in it. I said, I don't get down like that. I don't mess with that day. I don't do anything with that day. I don't participate in that day. I just don't. You know what I'm saying? She said, oh, I'm so sorry. She said, I'm glad you told me. I make sure I won't do it. I won't bother you no more. And she did. It was that. But I felt so bad because she was so happy. She was decorating. But like, man, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not inviting it into my life. I'm not inviting that spirit of fear into my life. And we do these things. We watch these scary movies and we go to haunted houses and we participate in Halloween, and then we wonder why everything is always going bad for us. Why things are always some messing with me. You know what I'm saying? Things are going bad. Why? Because you're participating in devil rituals. You're participating in evil rituals and things of that nature. You're inviting the devil into your life and then wonder why he came and showed up. You invited him. You know what I'm saying? Putting them pumpkins and them skeletons and them goblins and stuff. You invite them into your kids' life by dressing them up and letting them go out and ask for candy. Because they do. They make it seem, oh, we just go have a candy. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? My kids know. And I don't even let my kids go nowhere on Halloween. Just in case they want to sneak off and hang with some other people. Now, the ones that's not here, I can't do nothing about them. No, they're not in my house. But the ones that stay in my house, no, we don't go nowhere on Halloween. You don't go nowhere. You don't go outside on Halloween. Matter of fact, we sit on Halloween, we sit and we usually do Bible study. Like tonight, it'll be, this year's on Thursday, and that's usually the night we do Bible study. So we'll be doing Bible study for Halloween. I'm not participating in that crowd. And if you know what's best for you, you wouldn't either. If you really want to have that close relationship with God, you wouldn't either. Because again, those things, the movies, the haunted houses, the Halloween, all that stuff, the purpose of it is to excite fear. And God has not given you a spirit of fear. So if you're exciting fear, if he's bringing fear into your life, then you're playing with the devil. You're dancing with the devil. You know what I'm saying? You're playing with fire. And what happens when you play with fire? You get burnt. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I say, again, I was right there. I used to watch scary movies. I used to go to haunted houses. I used to participate in Halloween. Yes, I did all that before I knew better. But once the Lord opened my eyes and showed me, I got rid of those things because I didn't realize what I was doing. I was bringing a crippling effect into my life. I was allowing fear to come into my heart. I was actually going out and paying for things to scare me, to bring fear into my life, something that's going to be detrimental to me and the work that God has for me to do. And once I came to that conclusion, I gave it up. You know what I'm saying? Because again, anything that you do that incites fear is not of God. You know what I'm saying? That is not God. That is not of God. And you see here this statement when this guy, again, you know what I'm saying, when he saw the glory of God, that incited some fear, but they ain't told, hey, calm down. You know what I'm saying? He said they were turning and frightened. He said, but the angel reassured them, do not be afraid, he said. Now, if you look at the King James version, that's one I want to point out. In the King James version, it said, and the angel said unto them, fear not. And I told y'all I'd get back to that. Fear not. The statement fear not is pretty interesting. The statement fear not is a very important statement. 300, I've told y'all before, whatever, anything in the Bible is important. Every word in the Bible is important. When something in the Bible, whether it's a statement or a story or mentioned twice, that means it's very important. You know what I'm saying? The statement fear not is in the Bible 365 times. 365 times. There's basically a fear not for every day of your life. You see what I'm saying? Fear not for every day of your life, or every day of the year. You know, except for leap years, which happen every 4 years. Then I guess you got to borrow fear not from the next year or whatever. But there's 365 times this statement says, the statement in the Bible is made, fear not. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because that's not of God. If you really, again, you really understand the birth of Christ, you understand the significance of the birth of Christ, it alleviates all that fear. You don't have to fear anymore. God is here. God has come. He saw, he conquered. He won. You don't have to fear anymore. You see what I'm saying? Because that fear is not of God. That's why he said 365 times, fear not. So if you really trust in God, if you really believe you have a relationship with God, you really have your faith in God, you can't have faith in God. You can't live in the light and then still dwelling in being afraid of the darkness as well. They don't go together. They don't mix. You know what I'm saying? You can't say I'm a child of God. You can't have this close relationship with God, but yet there's still fear in your heart. Afraid of what tomorrow's going to bring. Afraid of what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? If you really believe and understand the significance of the birth of Christ, you wouldn't fear. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you get worried. You shouldn't worry neither. You know what I'm saying? I understand, you know, it's a lot of crazy going on, but you wouldn't fear. You know what I'm saying? If you got fear in your heart, then that means you need to work on your relationship with God. You are not as close to God as you thought you was. Because if you're as close to God as you thought you was, that fear wouldn't be there. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't be afraid. You wouldn't be, you know what I'm saying? This is something I see in my black community, and I talked about how fear cripples us. You know what I'm saying? It keeps us from being successful. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't be afraid of moving off the block and moving to a place where it's going to give you more opportunities. You know what I'm saying? I talk to my brother all the time. My mom, I try to get my mama to move up here with us all the time, but she's afraid of leaving Memphis. And she's came up here and had a great time, but she won't leave Memphis. She's afraid because she don't know that it's the unknown, the fear of the unknown. You know what I'm saying? She's come up here. She stayed earlier this year. She came up here and stayed with us for 2 weeks. Loved it, but went right back to Memphis because that's what she's comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens more. It's some dudes I know from Memphis right now. I go down there, they still in the same spot, on the same corner, doing the same thing. Never, most people don't even, most hood dudes, they don't even leave the neighborhood. Only time they leave the neighborhood if the neighborhood get tore down because they getting gentrified. Then they have to move to another neighborhood, but they won't move too far away. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because of fear. And that fear keeps them from being successful. That fear keeps them, well, man, they might call me an Uncle Tom. Like when I went out to college, you know what I'm saying? I was so afraid because, you know, they mess with smart people there. You know what I'm saying? They mess with smart people. It's so funny. You can go to the hood. You can go to prison and get out, you know what I'm saying, 20 years, and man, you get celebrated. But you can go to college and graduate, you know, go to college for 4-5 years, come back, and they, oh man, hey, how you doing? It ain't no big deal. Oh man, we're proud of you. You might get up and get one of those, you proud of you. But man, you can go to prison, you get celebrated. That's the mindset. And we're afraid, our fear of what our hood dudes gonna think about it. Fear, you know, something. I ain't gonna lie, it irritates me sometimes. It do bother me to the core. It's not a fear of it, but like my kids, my wife, they man, you the whitest black dude I ever know. Like I'm straight hood. Like, and I'm not I'm saying I'm a hood dude, but I am from the hood. Whatever any nigga in the hood has went through, I've been through it. And in a lot of situations, I've been through worse. Because like I told y'all, I'm from North Memphis, and I was the poor kid. It was a poor neighborhood in North Memphis. I was the poor kid in the poor neighborhood. It was a lot of dudes in North Memphis that had it way better than I had. They actually had their dad at home, or you know what I'm saying, dad and mom, or whatever. Like I was poor. I was messed up. You know what I'm saying, in the hood. So when people like, man, you're not black. Like, what else I got to do to be black? Everything. I ate the sugar sandwiches because we didn't have no meat to go into them. I've drunk water and couldn't even afford a 25% pack of Kool-Aid. I've drunk water with sugar in them. I've ate mustard sandwich. I've had to pick the roaches out of the cereal before I can eat them. You know what I'm saying? I've slept with roaches crawling across my head. Like to this day, when I sleep, my wife mess with me. She said, you know, you look like a little burrito. Because I wrap myself in blankets, like completely in a blanket, because back in the, like I said, when I was in Memphis, you know, we used to have roaches crawling in our bed at night. And so the only way you keep them off is you wrap yourself tight enough where they couldn't get in. And I would just have my nose exposed. You know what I'm saying? I've done all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But we have a fear of not being accepted by our peers or somebody saying you're no longer black or you're no longer hood. And so you let that fear of not being cool or not being real, you know, keep you from being successful. And that's what happened to a lot of our black men. There's a lot of dudes I know from the project that could, from the hood of Memphis that I lived in, that could have been lawyers or doctors or you know what I'm saying, athletes or things like that, but they were so concerned with staying real that they let it stifle them and it kept them from being successful. That's what fear does. You see what I'm saying? And see, if you don't understand the significance of Christ, that's what'll happen in you know what I'm saying, in your life. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying, if you understand the significance of Christ and what Christ did and how when his birth took away that fear, you know what I'm saying? If you really understood that, you won't be afraid of something happening to you, so you got to take a gun with you all the time. The first thing I did when I gave my life to God, I sold my gun. You know what I'm saying? I sold my gun. And I'm not one of, I don't believe in gun. Like, if I believe I need a gun, God will make one. If I need a gun, I'm in a situation where I need a gun and there's a gun around, I'm going to use it. Trust me. I'm not one of like, ooh, I wouldn't touch it. No, but I don't feel I need one to keep me safe and protected. I walked through North Memphis for 17 years. One of the worst neighborhoods, one of the worst parts of Memphis, 17 years. You know, yeah, I've been robbed a couple of times at gunpoint. You know what I'm saying? I had bullets go by my head, never been shot. Still here. I've been jumped a couple of times, never been shot. Still here. I think I've been jumped 3-4 times, something like that. I got jumped. I can't even remember. I got jumped 3 or 4 times. I've had a gun put in my face 2 or 3 times, but I've never been shot because God was always with me. And that was before I was even serving him. So if he can protect me like that, I'm not even serving him. Why would I need one now? You see what I'm saying? First thing I did is sold my pistol. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because I don't live in fear of what can happen to me because I trust in Jesus Christ and his birth and what his birth done. You know what I'm saying? If you believed in that, you wouldn't let people shoot you up with these experimental drugs. You know what I'm saying? I remember when COVID came out, people lost their freaking minds when COVID came out. You couldn't get toilet paper nowhere. And you know what I'm saying? We got all these diseases that have been around for years, never been cured. And all of a sudden COVID come out and they got a cure within a year. And I'm a chemist. I understand how that works. Matter of fact, some of the one facility, not the facility I work at now, but the facility I was working at before this, they actually made one of the components that that went into the medicines that came out. You know what I'm saying? They actually made the components for that. And, you know, and I know if you understand the process of medicine, that take years. Some medicines that just came out now, they've been working on that for 15, 20 years to try to get that patent and approved by the FDA and all that. And these folks got one less than a year? Oh, no. I'm not putting it in my arm. You know what I'm saying? No. Well, if you don't do, and what do they tell you first? Oh, if you don't, it's just one shot and you'll never do it again. And then everybody went out and got the jab. Then what happened? Oh, well, now you got to get a booster. Apparently that one shot with another. You know what I'm saying? But only one booster, you'll be good. And then what happened? Oh, well, actually, you got to keep on getting them. Matter of fact, you're going to have to get them every so often. No. See, that was fear that did that. You know, fear that made people run down there and stand them lines and let these people put this medicine in them. You know what I'm saying? Fear did that. And that's what happened. And that's what our government has been doing for the longest. That's what the media do. They make you afraid. You know what I'm saying? My grandma used to watch the news. That's all she did was watch the news. So she was afraid of me to do anything. She wouldn't let me go to the gym. She was afraid when I was going to the house. And I made her pray over me and I appreciate it. But man, she was afraid of everything. I was like, Grandma, I got to live. I can't be a prison in my own house because I'm afraid of what could happen. You know what I'm saying? But that's what fear do. And people use it for our government uses our fear against us. Oh man, you know what I'm saying? You know, matter of fact, they doing it with you see it when they doing it with the presidential campaign. You know, some people afraid Kamala's gonna get in and immigrants gonna come and take over the country. You know what I'm saying? And they got people afraid that Trump gonna get in and he gonna start World War III and democracy's gonna be over. And you know what I'm saying? Depending on where you stand, depending on what news you watch, depending on what you're afraid of. I'm not worried about none of that, bro. I'm gonna go vote. I don't even like voting. The only reason why I vote is because so many black people gave their life because they felt it was so important. So I do it to honor the sacrifice they made, but I have no trust in our voting system and our government, none of that. I don't think us getting the right, I don't care who the president is. If, you know what I'm saying, if we don't get back to God, nothing's going to change. I don't care who the president is. Things might be a little nicer depending on who get in there. It might be a little nicer for a little while, but it's going to go right back to the same thing because we're not fighting against flesh and blood. It's against principalities and the powers of this world, the rulers of darkness in high places. And I misquoted that, but y'all know where it's at. It's over there in Ephesians. Go look it up. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're fighting. So that's why I do what I'm doing right now is to really combat the evil because I'm not afraid of taking Lucifer head on. You know what I'm saying? Every time I go out there knocking on doors, I'm taking Lucifer head on. Every time I get on these videos, I'm taking on Lucifer head on because I'm not afraid because I believe in the birth of Christ. And I understand what his birth, the significance of that birth and what it brought into my life. I don't have to fear Lucifer anymore. You know what I'm saying? I can go out there and fight him head on. And I know he hates it. He hates to see me coming. Because I know I be plucking ones out the fire that he never thought would be saved. You know what I'm saying? And that's why my ministry called the lost sheep. Because I don't go after the 99. I'll go after the one that is strayed away. You see what I'm saying? You won't be afraid of the World War III. You won't be afraid of all this stuff that's going on in the world if you really understood and the significance of the birth of Christ. And that's why I want to do this lesson tonight. You know what I'm saying? Again, y'all see, I'm a little over, and I could have went in so much more stuff, and I had to kind of narrow it down. That's why I was a little late, because I had to figure out like what I'm going to put in there and what I'm not going to put in there. But I hope I made my point. I hope you understand the significance of fear and what it does to your life. I hope you understand how it stifles you, how it keeps you from being the true child of God that you're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? It keeps you from doing all those things because of fear. Like I said, fear almost kept me from my wife. Fear almost kept me from my career. It almost kept me from having a life and getting to be in my kids' life. Fear almost did a lot of things that would have kept me from being the man that God wanted. It definitely almost kept me from being the man that God wanted me to be. And if you sitting around with fear in your heart, then you're doing the same thing. You're hurting yourself and you don't realize you need to let that fear go. But you won't be able to let that fear go until you really understand and believe in the birth of Christ and understand how significant it was. Because the trust in the birth of Christ and its purpose and its significance will alleviate you of that fear. So that's it. I'm gonna keep going about on style. Like I said, when I wrote this down, I was like, I'm only gonna be able to do one point tonight, and I went way over. I wasn't even planning on going this over. But I'm hoping it's helping y'all. If some of y'all look like y'all came in later, my phone running slow, so I can't tell who's here, who's not. I hope if you came in later, you go back. I don't think anybody need to miss any of this lesson. If you came in at the end, man, go back and watch the beginning because it's very important. Like I said, when I put this together, Spirit has put on my heart, like, don't rush through this one. Then you stick on this topic because fear is what's going on right now in our society. Most of the stuff that's happening is because of fear. You know what I'm saying? Fear. We letting our government do whatever they want to do because we're afraid. You know, they tell, when 9/11 happened, they can happen again. They took away our freedoms. Now they can tap your phone. They can monitor you. They can come in your house. They can do whatever they want to because they made us afraid and we allowed them to do it. And we got to start taking our lives back. We got to start taking our freedoms back, and we got to stop being afraid of everything. But again, if you don't have a close relationship with the Lord, then you're going to be afraid of. That's why, I got a big family. You know what I'm saying? When COVID came through, you know what I'm saying? It can easily be afraid. I wasn't afraid of COVID at all, bro. Like, matter of fact, only reason why I stopped going soul winning for a little while is because I knew everybody else was afraid. It had nothing to do with me being afraid. But the thing is, that's what started this ministry, doing it online. So it kind of is a blessing in disguise because I started doing this on Mondays when COVID hit, and now I've been doing it for almost for a little over 4 years. So some good did come out of it, but I stopped, and the only reason I stopped going to jail because they stopped letting me come in jail. But as soon as school started back and I saw they sent them kids back to school, I said, well, they're going to send the kids back to school, then I'm going to get back out soul winning. And the first thing I did when the kids went to school that week, I went soul winning that weekend. You know what I'm saying? But I never did stop going to church. I didn't stop going to church. I didn't stop handing out tracts wherever I went. When it was out, I didn't wear the mask. I didn't do none of that because I wasn't afraid. What's going to happen? One thing I learned from living in North Memphis and living the life I live, what's going to happen is going to happen. And if that's in God's will for your life, there's nothing you can do to stop it. You know what I'm saying? All you do is just pray that God is on your side. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, like I said, all you can do is just put it up to God. Other than that, there's nothing you can do. What's going to happen is what's going to happen. So I'm not going to let the fear of the unknown, the fear of missing out, the fear of what could possibly happen keep me from being the best person I can be, or keep me from being the best servant of God that I should be. I'm not going to let fear do that, but a lot of you are. And I'm praying after you watch this video tonight, you really look at yourself and self-evaluate and look at things that you've done and decisions that you've made out of fear and start to rectify that. And instead of making decisions out of fear, make decisions based on the word of God, and you'll end up in a much better place. Because again, God does not give us a spirit of fear. He gives us a spirit. What say? I'm gonna end it with that. God does not give us a Matthew. In case you missed it earlier, God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. And if you're not making your decisions out of power, love, or the sound mind, then you make your decision out of fear, and that is not of God. And I hope you realize that before it's too late, so you can be the person that God, but to live up to your full potential, be the person that God made you to be. So again, with that being said, I said I'm gonna be. I told you it was a lot there, y'all, and I could have went on more, but like I said, I'm already over by like 30 minutes, which I've been trying to limit myself. But this one is too good because it goes on too much, and I really hope that y'all see how fear has crippled you or stifled you or kept you from being to where God really wants you to be. So that being said, if there's anything, I'm going here with my ending announcements, get out of here. If there's anything in particular that you would like for me to talk about that I haven't covered already, reach out to me. Lord willing, next Monday I'll be back. I'll do to the next point. Like I said, there was 2 points for it to come out of that. I only got to the one because there was just so much there. But Lord willing, I get to the second point and maybe a third point next Monday. But Lord willing, be back next Monday, 7 o'clock. We'll do this thing once again. Hopefully you guys get help from it. Keep sharing the videos, telling us about the videos, tagging people in the videos. It's always public. I'm not trying to get no money or none of that. I just want people to get this wisdom so they can start having a closer relationship with the Lord. So whatever you need to do to get out there, if you know somebody need to hear this, tag them in it so this word and this gospel, this truth can get out. Of course, of always, if you're not 100% sure about your salvation, if you don't know when you go through that door called death, you're going to see the Lord on the other side. Please, please, please reach out to me. Don't hesitate. Reach out to me and let me know. I was put some time on my schedule, set up some time on my schedule to go over the gospel with you and tell you what you need to know so that you may tell you what you need to know so you may be able to know that you'll see the Lord on the other side when you come to that door called death. And as always, you need any kind of spiritual counseling, reach out to me and let me know. Again, I will set some time up with you that try to do my best to answer your questions, share whatever wisdom I have, so you can have that close relationship with the Lord. And as always, if you caught this, and you know what I'm saying, you want to go back and this is a series. This is the third installment in this series. Go Jesus, your birthday. So you want to catch the other ones. The easiest way to do it, you can scroll up and down my Facebook page, but the easiest way to do it is go to my YouTube page. Got to type in God's Servant / Lost Sheep Ministries, just like that. I don't have a big following, so if you don't type it in just like that, you probably ain't gonna find it. But go there, and that's the easiest way to catch up. Or again, I always post them on my Facebook page, and I don't delete them, but Facebook might delete them. But they should be on my page. You can find them either way. But either way it go there, get that, and take this wisdom and this knowledge that I'm sharing with you guys, and use it to build your relationship with the Lord. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pray and get out of here because I'm way over. I held y'all. Started off late and I'm finishing late, and I apologize, but I really think that was a good lesson, and I hope it touched your heart and give you the want to get rid of that fear that's in there. Dear Lord and Father, thank you so much for this inspired word tonight, Lord. Really excited when I got into putting this lesson together. Really excited to bring it forth. I'm pretty sure the people was able to see, and I did go over. I apologize. I've been trying to work on that. But I just really feel that was a very important message, Lord, that you gave me tonight. It's important to help people see the tricks of the devil, because that's one of his main tools that he's been using that keep us away from you. It's one of the main tools he's been using that keep us from each other, Lord, and keep us from really unifying. We fear, with the fear of missing out, fear of, you know what I'm saying, if I get with this one group, then they're going to get more powerful, or they're going to do this, or they're going to have, and we got all these fears, and we do everything based off of fear. This fear of, you know what I'm saying, of being alone, or whatever it is that keeps us in these bad situations. More important, it keeps us from you. And I pray that anyone that's watching this video, if they got harboring fear in their heart, fear that's keeping them from doing the things that they need to do to honor and glorify you, Lord, or to keeping them from doing the things they need to do to be successful so they can provide for their families, take care of their families, I pray you remove this fear from their heart and replace that fear with faith and trust in you and your birth, and help them understand that's the point of your birth. One of the purposes of your birth, they come and take away the fear of the judgment. We don't have to worry about facing the judgment as long as we put our faith and trust in you. And the fear of the lack of success in our life, as long as we put our faith and trust in you, because it's all about you guiding us to where we need to be. But you can't guide us if we don't believe in you, Lord. So I pray that after watching this lesson tonight, if there's anybody harboring fear in their heart, or making decisions based on fear, or staying away from being unsuccessful because of fear, you remove that fear from their heart, and they may become the best version of themselves that they can be, so they can do the work they have to do for you, and also provide for their families as well. I pray, Lord, that you continue to watch over this ministry, continue to help it grow, prosper, reach out to the community, change the lives of others, and capture lost souls of men. I pray you be with River Lake Baptist Church, continue to help it grow, prosper, reach out to the community, change the lives of others, and capture lost souls of men. I pray you be with me and my family, give us the encouragement and enthusiasm we need to continue to go forth doing this work, Lord. And I can pray you give us the influence that we need to be an influence in the lives of others, those you've given us to lead. Give us the wisdom and guide them in the right direction, and give us the influence them to get a whole heart to you as we have, so you may be able to use us. Use my family, use me, use my family, use my ministry members and this ministry as a whole to do a mighty work to honor and glorify your name, actually build your kingdom. I pray you be with all your faithful servants, all those that give their time, energy, and effort to doing your work. Continue to fill their hearts with your spirit. Give them your power, love, and wisdom over any problem that arises that may keep them from doing the work you have them to do, and give them the encouragement that they need to continue to go forth doing their work, no matter what their ministry may say or the world may say, Lord. And just give them the guide their steps, so they can come across those that need to hear your gospel message, words of encouragement, and send your fire spirit down upon their heart, so they may preach their gospel message, word of encouragement with boldness, so souls may be saved. Some souls may be saved, and some may have a desire to have a closer relationship with you. I pray you be with all of your faithful, honorable public servants, Lord, all those that are in the military, law enforcement, rescue services, medical services, all those that put their health, life, and safety at risk to protect the health, life, and safety of others. Be a wall of protection around them as they serve. Help them, give them the wisdom to see that no matter how far away from home they are, they're never too far away from you. Give them the wisdom to make the right decisions, especially when it comes to life and death situations, and give them the wisdom, Lord, to also not to abuse the authority they've been granted over those that you're supposed to be serving and protected, but give them the honorable heart, so they may do what they need to do to honor and glorify you, and keep them and keep their family members safe and their loved ones safe while they are protecting their loved one and others. And I pray you make a way for them to have a day where they're able to embrace themselves, embrace their loved ones, and they give you all the honor and glory and praise because they know it's only because of your grace that they were able to do so. Continue to watch over us all as we go about this week. Be with all those that are sick and shut in as well. Keep your healing hands upon them as a Jehovah Rapha so they may heal. And be with all those that suffer from losses, Lord. I know one of my members has lost someone recently, and I pray you just be with her and just help them to heal from their loss and know that their person is in a better place. And I pray that you help them get them the comfort in knowing that. And I just pray you continue to be with us all, bless us all, guide us all, so we may all get everything done we need to get done, get everywhere we need to be according to your will for our lives. And more important, Lord, just keep using us. And I pray for today when the world as a whole, we will humble ourselves, pray, seek your face and turn from our wicked ways so you may hear from heaven, forgive our sins and hit our lands. And I pray you watch over us, bless us and guide us through another week so we can gather here once again and honor and glorify your name. Thank you for this night. Thank you for your spirit working on me. And I thank you for this truth. And I say this prayer in your wonderful son, Jesus' name. Amen. So, man, thank y'all for joining in, man. Like I said, if you came in later, go back and watch the beginning. I know it's a long video, but, man, I think it's worth it. A lot of us don't realize what this fear is doing to our lives and how it's holding us back. And I think it's worth you going back and watching it if you didn't get the beginning, because it's so important that we get that fear out of our lives and instead replace that fear with faith in Christ. So I've already held y'all over way long. I hope y'all ain't going to be too sleepy tomorrow. But, man, I thank y'all for joining me in. Thank you for joining in, hanging in there with me. And I pray that this message really touches your heart and remove that spirit of fear. So until next time, man, y'all keep praying for me. I keep praying for y'all. And remember, no matter what's going on, no matter what you do, to always watch your back and pray. So until next time, I love you all. Peace.